Hello and welcome to another Saturday night. This is Kev and this is Black Men being brutally honest. And as you come in here, please hit that like button. And if you are new to this channel by any chance and you're watching this, please hit that subscribe button as well. Much appreciated. And thank you to all my new subscribers and existing subscribers, and especially to the people who tune into these lives every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. I am the Weekend Warrior. So, topic for tonight. Is your problem the Black Manosphere, or is it just black men? Because I just want to let you know and refresh all of you, and just so we have an understanding as to, I think or believe that some of you are forgetting the root cause is that whenever you put black in front of man, there is going to be a problem in any situation. The root word of manosphere is man. You are dealing with of a conglomerate of black men with different ideas and philosophies. And some of those philosophies contain harsh truths about what goes on in our community. And a lot of the conversations, whether people want to put up this entire smoke screen or not, some of the conversations are solution based. The problem is our race in general seem to have a problem and are hard pressed to support the ideas and philosophies of intelligent, thinking black men. You know, this is not going to turn into a, oh, they don't respect us conversation. This is, and I mean, like, yeah, somebody may come up here on the panel and try to do that. Well, they don't respect us, and oh, they need to bow down and submit. And, no, I'm actually like, I'm not so much anti-submission. I just don't believe in negotiating my respect, especially as a black man in this country, because historically we've been through just about every fucking thing. And that's not excluding black women, black children, black girls, black boys, black nieces, black nephews, because as a black man, you do understand when you put black in front of man, that includes black men, black women, black children. Thinking black men, caring black men, think about that shit every day. Think about what an obstacle it is to at least get a message out there. Cool ass, brilliant shit. I mean, so when you bring this whole manosphere thing into it, then that becomes another challenge because right now the black manosphere is gaining momentum, whether it be because of the recent success of certain black YouTubers or the acknowledgement of something that has existed for quite a number of years finally coming to the light. And it's the transition is rough. The the acceptance is rough for people to understand. And I don't know. It seems to be becoming even an obsession for some, like this whole negative obsession with taking the place down. And I don't know. Maybe it's maybe I just have this little small inkling of personal satisfaction when I see people melt down like that because certain figures within the Black Manosphere or close to this space start to become successful. It's it's like the rivers of tears is just amazing because when black men were being fucking trashed forever by our own people, and yes, that includes the women, and we know it's a repeated talking point over and over again because people have started to do this little, well, black people need to come together, and we need to both uh, take accountability for this. Both of us are responsible. And I get that. Black men have issues, black women have issues, but I'll explain that both shit in just a second. The fact of the matter is, it seems to be a problem as we as black men altogether because one thing is for certain is that in order to be able to pull this off somewhat smoother, we're going to have to face certain things. And I've talked about these things quite often. Number one, and I hate to bring pills into this, but some of you understand the pill concept. Others of you really frown upon it because of the concept of red pill. I just do kind of red pill versus blue pill, all this black pill, purple pill, pink pill, all this other. Everybody wants to be included in something. Everybody always wants to add diversity to something that started from two, I would say. I mean, think about that. Everybody labels red pill philosophy as kind of a, and like I said, I'll again use words that you understand, toxic. They're toxic doctrines that promote hatred for the opposite sex. I would say it's more of how I see it is that, okay, we're pretty much aware of what we're dealing with in this world, and we understand that. So we have tried so many things that have not worked. So it's time to face some reality and start doing things that work. We are, I mean, I understand that the conversations about relationships and women are, they're very numerous, but guess who made those conversations popular? You guys. You guys that are watching right now. You made those conversations popular. Yet you wah, 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 you bitch and moan about them. And I'm not hating on anyone. Thanks for the super chat, Grinch. I appreciate it. You're the man. Why are we complaining about something we made so popular? Why are we doing that? I mean, it's like we think someone is watching us, so we try to behave a certain way, and it just to make sure that we don't catch ourselves in the line of fire. I don't know. I'm just a person that I'm with the shits, but I try to do things in a more sensible, diplomatic way first. I just want to know what the problem is. I'm not a gatekeeper. In fact, a lot of content creators might. I mean, from what I hear, and this is not me trying to start any mess. People think me and my crew shouldn't even be here. Some, a lot have been pretty welcoming. A lot of people say, for instance, long live the habitual line steppers, which introduces a lot of the problems that we have in spaces such as these. There's always got to be tension. There's always got to be some fisticuffs, some verbal, I don't know, negative verbal exchange, and I do understand how that can become a problem. Or that can consistently be a problem. I mean, I don't want to go to panels to argue with people. I mean, we should be able to have a conversation where we disagree and we're able to chit chat at the end of the day. Maybe, crack a couple jokes. We're on the internet. How tough can you get on the internet? I don't expect anyone to take any shit because I don't take any shit. But let's be serious for a moment here. If I'd have stepped on this platform, me being a black man, it would have been a problem anyway. Some of y'all act like y'all walking on eggshells when you say something. Don't do that shit. Don't mince your words. Cause then cause see, doing that shit in the first place, mincing your words, and I mean this is decades old. This shit started with our fathers. Mincing your words because you did that, because you held back, because you stopped being honest with your families. They stopped being honest with us. You created this culture of shut the fuck up, black man. I'm not with that shit. I guess that's why I'm on YouTube. I mean, shoot, I'm no longer gonna put up with the whole shut the fuck up black man bullshit. Because every time I turn on the TV, I see something that just like, God damn, this shit again. I understand that I'm not responsible for half that shit that goes on, or even most of it, or maybe even I would say 95% of it, and I don't have to let it bother me. But in the long run, it looks bad for black men. It does. I'll look at the chat in a second. Up here over here looking for something. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know. It just what I mean. I look at it like this, and I always refer to the Facebook group, and many of the same similar things are being said about the Black Manosphere. Same fucking playbook. Same old, same fucking uh, shaming attacks. Same trying to silence black men. It's the same shit, And if you think that this Black Manosphere thing is something that whether you have the existence of KS or not, the Black Manosphere is now it's becoming its own entity. I mean, and one thing that you would have had to learn from KS is the more hate you feed something, the stronger it becomes. That's why that Facebook group became so strong within a few months. And then it was like a fire that burned real bright. And then like after like a year or so, it fizzled out. Yeah, it's like, but back to the whole playbook thing, that it was always the same shit. We were a hate group against black women. We hate black women. Everything was about being against black women. That's the absolute worst thing you can do on the fucking internet as a black man is disagree with the philosophies of a bitter, hurt black woman. And I don't know. I guess, I guess the good Lord didn't put that part in with me. I don't understand feelings when it comes to, I don't know, logic and empathy rather. I mean, I'm pretty empathetic person, but it only goes so far because it's like I didn't come and like I said again, I didn't come here to say, oh my God, nobody shows us empathy. Everybody always beats us up. No, I'm not coming here to say that. What I'm coming here to say is it's getting a little bit annoying. It's like being in a room full of mosquitoes. No matter how much off you spray on yourselves, they always manage a way to find a spot and get you anyway. It's ridiculous. But then like there's like levels to that shit. In a perfect world, when you get on these stages and debate, you can I guess win the debate, lose the debate, or agree to disagree. One manosphere problem that I've often heard people complain about is, and really This will this will, I don't know, apply to a lot of the channels when I say this, but content creators say panels are a problem. Some of the larger content creators, panels. A lot of a lot of these major beefs that you see these back and forths, these little video series that people make about each other, those started from panels. Um, Everything really like that starts from a simple disagreement. Now, if Negroes want to be immature and make fools of themselves every day and, put time and energy into dissing each other, I would, the way I view content, I wouldn't have any problem with any of that if it were funny. If it were hilarious, if it were humorous, if both sides could really like kind of like roasting each other instead of the alternative doxing and, I don't know, I'm gonna catch a flight and shouting matches. I don't see how, like, I don't like, and those are broadcasts that really do like triple digit numbers. Broadcasts where people are shouting at each other, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, like, a lot of that doesn't make any sense for the sake of the audience. I don't care who you consider winning or losing. It just is not a really good look. It just isn't. Um, Another problem with panels that people often complain about are conversations that go off in extreme tangents. Like, I've even said it a couple times with some of my broadcasts. If it wasn't for tangents, a lot of my broadcasts would be like an hour and a half, 2 hours shorter. And don't get me wrong, everybody's presence is appreciated. But I used to have this thing that where I used to say, like, really just let's stick to the topic, and I think we'll do just fine. With giving the audience in the chat a great show. Some people come up here and tell their life stories. Now, I'm not saying that as a panel host that can be, I mean, that can be a problem. I am saying that, yeah, as a panel host, that can drag it for the host. I mean, and I know I have to do better with this, better with keeping the pace up with shows, but as far as like how the feedback I've been getting, it's been pretty good, and it's been pretty humbling to see how many people actually do appreciate this. But back to what I was saying is like, yeah, it is often a needless chatter, and in some hosts and some panels, you need to keep in mind that there is a subject matter. Doing all the nigga banter, the nigga babble. I mean, that's just that's just feedback I've been seeing. Like, and I can kind of agree with it somewhat. But that is on the host of the channel, whatever the host of the channel wants at the end of the day. So if that's what you want to do, then screw whatever I'm talking about. But just saying. Also, one more problem is like, I've heard this. I've heard several content creators say this. One thing, uh, that if it wasn't for options such as StreamYard and Zoom, that a lot of people would not have content to make. A lot of people would not have channels. Uh, Now, my stance on that is I really don't care. I really don't give a fuck. Let people do them. Some people have to start out doing panels in order to understand the nature of doing a show where you want to converse with people and get different thoughts and ideas on what's going on. I have nothing against that. And a lot of the content creators within the space and beyond have delivered on that. Some even will jazz up their presentations. Have little things going on in the background, have overlays. I think you can do that through Stream Elements. I'm not sure. I have to check that out. They have little pretty presentations and such because they want the shows to have a unique feel. Or you can just do like me. You can just utilize StreamYard and talk to people and give your perspective. Because a black man's perspective needs to be out there. And I feel like this is one thing that this space does understand. Another problem with the Black Manosphere that people often complain about, and I would even say that this is sort of a problem itself, is, and I hate using white boy words because this is a white boy word right here, the presence of incels. Incel, for the most part, using that word is just a shaming tactic, and again, used to silence black men. Is into believing that it's because that uh, there's a problem with your dating or relationship, or in a couple cases, even marriages. That's why you're in the space complaining about women. Now, I would understand and I will admit that a lot of these guys who do have the conversations about black women and turn the volume up when I say this, a lot of those guys are correct. They just are. It's what it is. And this is why I believe that a lot of people are just annoyed by it, because a lot of these guys are telling the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. Is the truth need to be? Is the truth is the truth something you need to tell? And you're this kind of person, like, say for instance, if you're talking about fat chicks with kids, um, you don't need to be a fat guy with two baby mamas. So I hope that clears up some for you. But I did say incel, and there are some angry men out there that put this label on themselves, because it's in every male movement. Like, I would even say MGTOW, because a lot of people have a problem with MGTOW. A lot of people have a problem with SYSBM. A lot of people have a problem with the Passport Bros. A lot of people, even have a problem with it more. Now, if it does lead to positive male results, I have no problem with any of these movements. If it does the positive results for the community, especially. It doesn't seem to be the case because of this. Once you are a black man that accepts that there are problems, um, and some of them have to do with the opposite sex, and you respond to all the vitriol that you received as a black man trying to tell the truth, then they use these two words on you: gender war. Now, it was to my understanding that this Black Manosphere had already declared the gender war over. Uh, I'm saying that I've said this before. I mean, I say that a lot. I've said this before. I would say that it's not a gender war at all. It's a war of ideas. It's finger pointing is all that bullshit in it too that comprises the elements of this so-called gender war, which is nothing but a war of ideas. But I call it a war of ideas because both genders are on both sides of it. Hmm. I would say the most vocal are the black women and the simps. They're on one side of it, and not all simps and misdirected. So that you know, because I said it like that, you know what side I'm on. But I wish that all of the conversations on, at least on my side of the green, I wish all of those to be logical and not necessarily so much solution based, but uh, conflict resolution, which is something that we fall short on in this war of ideas. Now, as far as the use of the word gender war, the Black Manosphere has been accused of fueling this gender war instead of trying to end it. And it goes back to the basic common factor in all of this is because there are some black men that are saying some stuff. Because we as black men are saying stuff, it's a gender war. It wasn't a gender war at all when, the women were given platforms by WS mainstream media because they always want to talk about the controlling the dominating society like this boogeyman they use to hang over the heads of black men who are telling you motherfuckers the truth. Every time the women in our community were handed a platform, whether it's by a published book or a talk show or a magazine, all of a sudden the men wasn't shit. And this was this was expressed quite often, and it's no exaggeration when you hear a black male in the red pill spaces or the quote unquote these acronym spaces and the Black Manosphere. That's no exaggeration. I grew up in that time. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 70s. Became a little big head walker in the late 70s. Grew up in the 80s. I witnessed all those talk shows. I know exactly what they're talking about. And that was actually the emergence of Shahrazad Ali. That was the emergence of Shahrazad Ali. Yeah, she was doing them talk shows big. And one thing that would follow her around in those talk shows were the same element: bitter women, simps. I mean, some of the simp responses were just, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And this is me in the 80s as a child. I don't know what happened to actually, like, I don't know, did I bump my head one good time and all of a sudden I'm just like, damn, this shit is fucked up on this TV. But for me as a child to gain an understanding that it was a lot of tension toward men, and they did this like everybody act like all this shit is new. The messages in the media, how black men are being treated in the media is subpar. That shit has always existed. It's not some big. It's like it's not some big conspiracy theory. It's always been in our face. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's a conspiracy theory." Like, no, it's not. We don't control the media, so they gonna fuck us over like that. The backbone, the strength of the leadership of the community. Now, are we saying that there are leaders within the Black Manosphere? I would say the I would say we're in the genesis of the final product. So let's give it a chance for it to grow somewhat and get past our misunderstandings and see what happens from there. But remember, back to that gender war point, they only call it a gender war when black men say something. It's not a gender war until that point. It's just a bunch of people talking shit about black men until a black man disagrees, and then everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, the gender war! These black men, oh my god, they're so whiny. They're always crying. They're acting like bitches. You're so defeated. You're so conquered. The white man has you by the balls." I was like, wow, all of that? I don't know what, I must have grown up on a different fucking planet. If your mind is fucked that much, you're going to have to do some self reflection. I'm sorry. I mean, you can say my feelings hurt all you want. There's a thing called reality. The reality is this: when they see that we're not afraid of them, then they destroy us. That is in no way an excuse. But the thing is with me, there's strength in numbers. If we could somehow get past the ego, the Highlander complex, the animosity, we would be a force to be reckoned with. But we're going through our little growing pain stage right now. So yeah, I mean, there's people that are deeper in this sect than I am, and I just don't want to see it be a train wreck. And I know that's like I archived that Facebook group months ago, and the reason why I did it is because it's just wasn't really doing anything. It was destroyed enough from people because I mean it was. It was just like everyone said. It wasn't just like everyone said. It was just like I said earlier. You know, the group got labeled a hate group in the black community. How superficial is that? A hate group against black women, and I let black women in the group. My logic to defeat that is like, okay, how is it a hate group against black women and black women are members? And here was the logic by the sisterhood. You want to let us in here so we will make fools out of ourselves. That's not even like that is literally what the logic was. You want to embarrass us. And I mean, like, my first response to something like that is always, well, don't do anything embarrassing. Like, well, that's all you got to do. Don't make a fool of yourself. I mean, like, say for instance, think about what I mean. I would get really smug too because I feel like adults should have some things figured out. I'll be like, think about this. Think about the things that make you look like a fool or that is embarrassing, and don't do those things. Or is it too late? And then the conversation just descend, and then there goes some other place, show screenshots of what was said, and oh, he really hates black women. That's a white girl technique. That's a white girl technique. Let me say that again. That's a white girl technique. The whole hate black women thing. If a black man uses it, he is using a white girl technique. Every time one of these little pundits or one of these columnists on these news shows that are female gets pinned down by a man, they can't get any way out of it. The one thing that is consistently brought up, and if you pay attention to the thumbnail of this broadcast, you got LeVar Ball on there. And it happened to LeVar Ball. I think it was on ESPN. I forgot who the white girl was because it was not any like whoever she was, whatever. But it was the one with LeVar Ball. Like the female commented on his sons and how he how I guess public image and with his sons and everything, and he was like, stay in your lane. He told her, stay in your lane. Don't comment on. Any parent should do that. If you're doing halfway right by your kids, especially if you're a black father and it's your black sons, you should be able to say some shit about, don't make any comments on my family. What the fuck is wrong with you? I probably would have taken it a step further. But then she want to come back with the whole, oh my God, you must hate women. So, detractors and haters of this space and, other black male built spaces, they're always going to use the little white girl technique. You guys hate black women. You must hate women. All you want to do is hate black women. They're already saying it. They're already saying that the Black Manosphere is a hate group against black women. Dennis Sperling mentioned something about that on one of his broadcasts the other day about certain YouTubers talking about they were going to call the Bar Association and try to get him disbarred because he belongs to a hate movement of black men who hate black women and hate black people. And I wouldn't fuck with the lawyer. That's just me. I wouldn't do it. It's like people are going very low to take this space down. And I understand that some of you guys are a little afraid. Some of you guys are a little scared. You're a little frightened. Oh my God, I don't want to be implicated with that. I know I'm a black man on YouTube, but I want to make sure that I make broadcasts to make sure that you know that I am not a part of this Black Manosphere. Those guys, all they do is they hate black women. They can't stand them. All they want to do is bash them. They want to see black women suffer. This is literally that. I know I'm doing a little smug voice and I don't want to sound like everybody else, make up arguments to argue against, but this is literally what they are saying about the Black Manosphere, that we are a hate movement against black women. Fuck all the broadcasts about cryptocurrency and telling you what opportunities to go after. Like, I've seen plenty of content creators interview lawyers. Uh, you know, uh, I mean, Dennis, like I said, Dennis Sperling is a lawyer himself. We have educated people. We have hardworking. We got fathers. We got all kinds of men. And it's like this space is reduced to just a bunch of weirdos, incels, hurt men who need fathers. Yeah, because I heard that one too. That do nothing but cry about their hurt against black women. They're doing the white girl on us, fellas and ladies who are also a part of this illustrious space. Like I said, I just don't want to see the space melt down into like failure because there's an opportunity here. You finally got a microphone. You finally got a voice. Use it. Now, here's something else. I said I was going to talk about the both logic. And I'm starting to see this quite often too. Don't let nobody use that bullshit both logic argument on you. We both have problems. Take the sip of this spring water. Very delicious. Spring water has a smoother taste than regular. I don't know why, but maybe reasons behind that we might need to do a little scientific study. But both logic. We both got problems, and the both that people are referring to are black men and black women. When people say both, guess what those people are doing? They are making it about gender. Hence the gender war. People who say both, use the both logic, say stuff like we both got problems, black men and black women. You need to ask each and every one of those people. Okay, all right. Now that we've heard your concerns about the both, and we've heard the issues that are with black men, because we do quite often say it. What are the issues with black women since they're both? We both got issues. You need to ask that question every time. 9.5 times out of 10, that person will not answer it, which means that you have just exposed a disingenuous bitch. That's right, black men. Don't miss your fucking words. Ain't the time for that. You're wasting time. Just like our fathers wasted time, just like their fathers wasted time. Ain't no more wasting time. Shoot, I ain't got time for both logic. I don't believe in it. When you start saying stuff like both got problems, I start to believe that you're disingenuous and you want to carry the conversation elsewhere. And the answer is yes. Both black men and black women have problems. A lot of black men have problems with bad dick discipline. Because some of the women that come on these forums and platforms and say some of the shit they say, these women got kids. Now, when you get into stats and numbers and really start to break it down, then it'll start making more sense. But it's like if you wanna if you wanna really tell the truth, yeah, they both do have issues. But it depends on the person who's saying it and how they're saying it in what context. Black women issues we've heard often in this space right here. So if I need to list any, let me know. And it's a beaten drum around here, and we do know it, and it does not need to be a part of every conversation. But one thing I do notice about people who say that, they will go to those spaces shitting on the Black Manosphere, shitting on a certain particular YouTuber. They will do that. They will do that and sit there and listen to that shit for hours and hours and hours and hours. Yet and still, they're tired of the conversation that go on over here. Yes, both are doing it. Both sides on the war of ideas are doing it. And one person that complains about one side is doing the other one like they are smoking the best crack on the fucking planet, which is a horrible statement. Yeah, both got problems. But don't be disingenuous when you say that. You need to lay out what both means. Because I'm not tolerating it on this platform right here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a YouTube channel. Everything, life is bigger than YouTube, as people will say that. You won't go in those negative spaces about black men and say that shit. So I don't even want to hear it at this point. I'm disappointed. No, I'm just playing. I mean, it's like I said, a lot of this stuff is just for entertainment purposes only. But if you're not going to give black men that benefit, then you're going to have this little war of ideas. And I mean, like it's like, and the fault where the fault lies. Hey, you know what? Let's not even go there, because that would be like a needless back and forth. Oh, yeah, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. I just like entertaining conversation. You know, all that tension, all that gloom and doom. Yeah. So anyway, let me let me look at this chat finally. Some people have come, some people have gone. So who is all in here? We here. We here. Perfect Timing Podcast, hosted by Big D Rant. Salute. Black Light Revelations. Nick O. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Black women who invoke both logic are taking advantage of black men's naive nature. Every mechanistic study of the typical black issues stem from the woman's mating coupling pattern. Hmm. I would say Roger has said this in the past, and it's very, it kind of relates to what you say. I'm sure you're Nick Org, but yeah, Nick. Rogers said that every problem, and this is his claim, and this kind of makes sense. Every problem that is connected, that has, there's every problem in the black community is connected to two things: WS and single motherhood. And those things may very well be true. But, there has to be a level of accountability from everyone. So it just depends on what places we're willing to go. Okay, so Gold Professor, what's going on? Cortez Smith, D Rock Den, War Child Games, Alonzo Hall, Charles 91771, Reigning Woman, yay. Vereen 70, I cannot wait to start my channel. Awesome. Good luck with that, and make sure when you do visit the link here. Visit this channel and put the link in the chat. And I will not only subscribe, but when you do content, I'll put you in my community tab as well. All right, I'm about to put the link in the chat, and I would say that this conversation is more about the nature of why the Black Manosphere receives such vitriol. It's it's and my point is because it's black is a collective of black men. That's my whole point, and I think that we as black men sometimes forget that. We do. We get wrapped up in the whole bravado of manosphere, and I know I do sometimes. I'm a bit enthused about it, but it's like at the end of the day that it is a black man problem, because the word manosphere on YouTube is starting to mean something right now, because the black part of it is gaining steam. It's an opportunity that should not be squandered. And, if we squander it, then it's back to the drawing board. And I truly believe that there will always be something to replace it. But let me put it to you like this. Let me localize it a little bit more. Let me make this. Let me go to a much smaller but more potent space. At the end of the day, over here on this channel, it's long live the habitual line steppers. We got us. So that right there is never going to be a problem. If there are black men that want to blow that opportunity, fine by me. I mean, the end of the day, yes, we do have all this detraction, but it cannot be any stupidity on the Black Manosphere part as well. It cannot be stupidity from black men within the space. It cannot be, because when that happens, then it becomes flawed. Like, say for instance, the pro-black movement. I believe that movement is extremely flawed. We don't want this, and many would argue that the Black Manosphere is already flawed. Many would argue that, but when it starts coming from a more mature place, a more constructive place, then that's when we can start working on ways to work the kinks out. If it's coming from one of these little petty bitch places, nah, I ain't with it. But let's discuss, before I open up this panel. Let's discuss the psychology of how difficult it will be for any black man movement to make it amongst black people, just because the nature of the conversation has to be the brutal honesty that is required for this. I knew if I were to, and I've had these conversations amongst coworkers, among circles of friends. I've always had these conversations with people. I was not afraid to get political and to get social with folks, ever. I was never afraid. I didn't become a new person when I came to this platform. I had to get used to speaking in front of people. But I'm 100. What you see is what you get. I'm not pretending to be anything. And the problem on social media, not just YouTube, not just this space, is people do get up here and pretend that they are something that they are not. So my suggestion to you is, if you're trying to associate yourself with this space, or you want to come around us, you want to come around the greatest chat on social media, you want to come around the habitual line steppers, don't fake it. Oh Lord, do not fake it. Oh, because you will get towed up. Now, yeah, don't pretend to be anything that you're not. Mm. So there's the link. We got 23 watching. It's getting late. Shoot, let me check out the likes. Yeah, if anybody has YouTube Studio on their cell phone, they kind of advance it a little bit. You can actually see your stuff while it's in progress. Yay, 31 likes, 23 watching. Pretty good ratio. So I appreciate that, y'all. Wolverine 70, seriously. Yeah, when you start a channel, let me know. All right.
What up?
What up, Donnie? Long live the habitual line steppers.
Long live the habitual line stepping ass niggas. What's poppin'?
Oh shit, nothing, man. Just talking about the psychology of why this space is running into difficulty, and is I do understand that there are people who have issues within the space, but what it basically boils down to is the fact that these are black men that are doing it in the first place.
Yeah, it's a
And
simple
go ahead.
it's a simple answer, a simple response. Is black men with their time to shine. And traditionally it's been black women with their face on the camera. They'll get up, they'll get on these shows. Even when it wasn't black men, that black women will get up and they'll speak badly about black men. They'll tell you it's not their fault, it's black men's fault. Niggas ain't shit. XYZ down the line. You have the Maury's, the Jerry Springers when they had black people on there. It was always a nigga was at fault, right? And then now you have it to where black men can get up and say, no, that's not true. And of course, people are losing their damn mind because we're the only people that I know of. I can't think of another race of people that have their women constantly at odds with them, with the slave master mentality of let's keep these niggas in line, let's keep these niggas down, and make them shut up and bow down to massa, or us. We're the only people that have that.
All right, let's keep this in mind here, and I'm gonna let perfect timing have the floor. One thing that I learned in various supervisor positions, or according to a couple of people in the black YouTube area, Applebee's busboy slash dishwasher, I would learn is that if you consistently treated people with ease, and then all of a sudden you had to crack down on them, that they are likely to turn against you, because
Mm.
you're changing the environment for you. I mean, you like if you were like, say for instance, a playful boss, but all of a sudden shit had to get serious. You know, it's people will hate you for that because they're used to a certain way of doing things. Like it's like,
Going against the grain.
say what?
Going against the grain.
Yeah, that's why they have policies in companies such as fraternization, like because when people develop relationships, whether they are friendships or fuck things outside of the company, then the expectation is supposed to like shift to friendship instead of what it was intended to be, sort of a lead position versus a subordinate position. And the complaint is that black men are supposed to be the leaders. And, the leaders, they hop down in the trenches with you and they help out, they help pull you up. But at the same time, you have to follow that lead. And I'm not saying that you you're required to follow that lead or whatever that is. All I'm saying is you do have the option to stay the fuck where you're at, and the the onus on is on you to not blame anyone but yourself. But what happens is, uh, not only is our ability to lead nullified, but we're still blamed for not displaying said leadership, which is a conundrum to say the least. And it is just weird to me is that if you're going to be a fucking rebel, uh, why is it that you are requiring something of me that you didn't want to follow in the first place? It's
Right.
like if you have already acknowledged that it's supposed to be me as a black man that is supposed to be the leader of the community. Now, as a leader, you have to hand out suggestions. Whether you are hands on or less hands on, you should be hands on if you're leading. Period.
I mean,
Somehow, some kind of way, able to direct people through leadership by example.
I mean
But
that's
go ahead.
that's all the Black Manosphere is. If you look at it, for the majority of what I've seen in the Black Manosphere, you have a bunch of men on here telling sisters what they need to do. Hey, listen, we're looking for women with cooperation. You need to follow a dude, get with a dude, have your husband's child, right? Have your husband's child, and then follow his leadership. Submit, yada yada yada. Go down the line. You don't want to put yourself in these certain outfits, in these certain environments. You don't want to behave like this. And then what you'll see is women say, "Fuck you, nigga." uh, you ain't nobody. They'll go out and they'll get
you're
pregnant
not
by
giving
nobody.
any you're not giving us anything to follow or
Right.
yeah, or to submit to, which they try to give this twisted definition of submit, like we trying to get them an ankle lock and make them tap out or something and go make us sandwiches while on their knees and stuff like that. That's the version of submission they're giving you. And like I said, I don't expect submission, but at the same time I don't have to do shit for you. Like
Well,
that's how it looks. This what makes it fair.
but that's just how it is. A prime example is I know a woman who her husband told her, "Do not go to the Walmart up the street at night. I don't want you to go over there. It's not safe." What'd she do? She ignored what he said. She went over there. She walking out with her groceries. Motherfucker come and steal her purse, shoot off, jump in the car, drive off. She ain't got no phone. She ain't got her keys. Everything's gone. She's stuck at the Walmart for 4 5 hours. Husband trying to figure out where the fuck she's at. Now, fast forward, they divorced. She say her husband didn't protect her, and he wasn't no leader. But that's a prime example of he gave her some instruction as a man. He was protecting her from the environment. Hey, listen, don't go over there. And what did she do? She didn't follow him. Now her story is she didn't have the adequate protection that she wanted in the relationship, even though her husband laid out laws, rules, and regulations on how to be a safe person. It's simple common sense. But she bumped her head, completely disavowed what her husband said to her, and now she paid the cost for it. And because of that, she's not feeling protected, and her husband wasn't the leader. All I heard was leadership from the man. This is why our community can't take steps forward. Our women want to ignore what we do, our leadership, hit their head, and then pretend like we are supposed to come out of the blue like Batman and protect them from all the bad shit.
Yeah, plus if you're going on public campaigns to disrespect black men, I mean, what more do you expect from us after that? Like is it makes me make my issues more localized. It gives me justification to say, hey, you know what? Fuck you. I'll just worry about me and mine. like like serious, because I said a long time ago, it's like the one I protect is the ones that sleep in this house, and if that helps them get live a day longer, live years and years longer, and I have to be looked at as the asshole in order to get that done, then that may very well be, you know but I'll be the asshole and we'll be in a safe environment. That was stupid. Don't go to the Walmart at night. I mean, it makes sense because my dad would say things like that for my mom, but my mom would listen. You know, they would often carry that same caution to their kids. Like don't walk out of places with money exposed. Common sense stuff. And
But
she didn't even have the common sense to listen to her husband. And then now she's probably some broad on the internet website talking about black men ain't shit because
but
she was a yeah.
this is what we have as a consistent basis. Look at the outfits our women wear, right? If you ever see our women out in public, they have their ass out, their titties out. They have
Oh boy, you gonna kick over a hornet's nest with
it
that
is
one.
what it is. And then some jackass who's predatory in the first place, right? He 9 times out of 10, he's gonna be a predator. He's gonna go out and seek to be doing bad things, right? That's what a predator does. However, you put a big red ass target on your back when you go out with one titty out, your coochie in the air, and you popping up and down the street, motherfucker. You just left the church building like this? Yeah, of course that motherfucker gonna go up and try you because he felt like you was wearing a whole uniform.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, that I mean, I don't know. I guess in order for the situation to be justified for her to go out like that in the crazy world that we live in, that we have to encourage men to not approach those women at all. Like that, like because even like when they get approached, they will misinterpret the situation as some kind of predator trying to come after them and such. And when they go out in the world dressed like that, short skirt, big old thick legs, big booties, like you said, push up bras with boobs sticking up, and you know, walk like and walking down dark alleys, that's not a good idea. But that's not victim blaming. That's just throwing caution to the wind. I know not to go in certain neighborhoods talking shit about folks and saying like fuck this place, fuck this neighborhood with a bunch of Negroes sitting around. Just looking like they waited for somebody to just come up and start some shit with them. You know?
Hmm. You don't do certain things to protect yourself,
Yeah.
and in doing such, you basically taking the first step to being secure in your life. Our women do not do that, right? So it baffles me when women walk around and they say that they don't feel protected, they don't feel like they have leadership, and men have been telling you since pretty much the dawn of time, hey ho, don't do that shit. And it's silly to me. So fine, if you want to drive your Jaguar into the hood and get out the gas station and leave the car running with the windows down and the music blaring, well, don't expect the car when you come back.
Man, let me tell you something. They did a I saw this video on Facebook, and it took place in Atlanta in front of the State Farm Arena, and it was this lady like looked like she was very voluptuous. It was a crowd of dudes standing outside the arena, and she had like I guess she parked there for a second, and then the dude started surrounding her car. Start trying to holler at her. So the female response, "Oh my God, what's wrong with black men? Oh no." And then I get which, fuck ass niggas, they do fuck ass shit. But she drove down the street, and then one of them called, I guess they shouted bitch at her or something, which is wrong. That's weird shit. We know that's weird shit. But she's gonna stop the damn car and get out of the car and start screaming at the guys that are already like, I would say 30, 40, like, like some paces away from her, because she had driven off. She could have just got away, but she want to get out and show them how fine she is. She's yelling and screaming and cursing, but she get out, jeans tight, booty big. Yeah, like, yeah, she was fine. She had it. And the dudes
Nope.
ran down there to mess with her. One of them slapped her on the butt. But
Nope.
here's the common denominator. No. And I remember some girl was on the post screaming, like she was kind of lying about, oh, he threw his scooter in front of the car. And I said, if you look at it from this angle and that angle, ain't no scooter in front of that car. That lady stopped. She wanted that attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, if you really think that group of Negroes was gonna be violent and just tear you apart, you wouldn't have stopped that car.
Nigga, I wouldn't have got out that car. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't
Yeah.
have got out the car. It's 30 niggas and they said something to me. That nigga, I would have just had to drive down the road, nigga, because sometimes you just gotta understand there's some battles you can win and some battles you can't fucking win. I wouldn't have got out that fucking car. What made you think that you could get out at 130 pounds?
Yeah. I mean, they slapped her on the butt, which, like I said, there's no justification for that. Like, I believe men should keep their hands to themselves. But why the fuck did she get out the car? If nothing less did except attention. That's all she wanted, some attention. That was it. Hey, perfect timing. Like,
Yo,
let go and get in, man. What's going on,
oh,
brother?
well, thank you for having me on the panel. I was just gonna say they don't believe that they're human. I was looking at your post you just posted about the girl talking about how she feel anxiety. What I said is they being faced with their immortality for the first time, like an evil villain. You know what I'm saying? They living in the comic book fantasy, so everything to them is not a reality. They being faced with reality for the first time with these conversations being had, the way they're being had right now. But that's it. You said a lot so far. I have a lot I want to speak to. Number one, I want to answer the question, and that's an excellent question. When you said, "Is your problem the black manosphere or just black men?" What I would say is, whatever you answer to one is the same answer to the other. If you have a problem with black men, I would assume you would have a problem with the black manosphere. If you support and love black men, then I would hope and assume that you would support the black manosphere, and that would be my answer to the question. Speaking to the brotherhood, that's really why I jumped up, Kev, because I got excited because, that's my thing. I'm driving home right now. I really want to thank you and Roger and the habitual line steppers for including me and having me a part of this thing. And so I wanted to speak to the brotherhood aspect and really give you your roses and let everybody know about, why I believe the attention is coming, and it's because this brotherhood is solidifying. Also, I believe it has something to do with the market. The market has been solidified also. But speaking to the brotherhood and how you were talking about the conflict upon the panels, I want to bring up something that I talked about on my podcast about this gradual growth and how I see, and this is purely my opinion and anyone could disagree, but this is how I see, with your liberty and your permission, this is how I see it moving forward and what I've seen what's happening. And I've talked about this beta simp thing and this people pleaser thing, and it's all coming together. And it has a lot to do with insecurities and lack of self-love. What we have, and speaking to what we were just talking about the women, I think the culminating factor of the manosphere right now will be this brotherhood and not focusing on black women, but focusing on black men and understanding this thing right here about our relationship amongst each other is broken. Our family amongst the men is broken, and it has a lot to do with our lack of self-love and our insecurities with each other. These insecurities and lack of self-love for ourselves prohibit us from forming healthy brotherhoods and healthy relationships. See what is happening, and I like to use an example of Zoe and Corey Holcomb. what's happening is we're coming together in these circles, but we are not sure of ourselves. We are not in love with ourselves. We have insecurities that we are attempting, like you were saying, we're being fake and we're being phony. So we're hiding certain things about ourselves. You become intimate with other people, and then they know about the things that you hide, and then they expose them either by doxing or on the panel, and then you feel sensitive because you are not yet a complete person and a complete man. So you strike back. We strike back in violence. We strike back in immature ways. But it all stems from our lack of self-love and our insecurity. If we work on ourselves first, that's what I think is our mission right now. Working on ourselves first, loving ourselves, working on our insecurities, so that when we come together with our brother, we can form healthy, loving relationships and form a healthy brotherhood. Because with that healthy brotherhood, we can then have healthy conflict. And that's what we're missing in this space. Because if you don't have that respect for each other, because steel sharpens steel, you know what I'm saying? And the hard times will come, and I will have a disagreement with one of my brothers who I hold in high regard right now. But if I have self-love for myself and this brother doesn't have and has the same thing, then we can come together and have a healthy disagreement. I can learn from my mistakes. Right? I can take my L because I don't feel a certain type of way. I don't feel like someone's going to expose something that I don't already have exposed about myself. We can have these healthy disagreements, and then we can grow. That is what needs to happen, more than focusing on what the women are doing. What I hear a lot intelligent talk about, what BGS says is right. What we're dealing with is a problem with environment. But what I would like to say to those intelligent men is what's happening on YouTube is that we are changing the environment. YouTube presents a new environment, which is how we are changing the playing field. And this is how it is possible to create this new brotherhood and in-group. But we have to lay down these factors that I've discussed today. We have to work on our individual selves so that when we come together in these groups, we are not hiding, we are not fake, we are able to form healthy relationships that allow us to have healthy conflict so that we can move forward. After we get this brotherhood, what a lot of brothers have said, like, why don't we have like more markets and more business? I've said we cannot have the networking in business because you don't trust the people you are in business with. We have to work on our individual selves to build this healthy brotherhood. Then the next natural progression is that networking, is that business space. But if we don't trust and love each other, then we can't emulate these other communities and go into business with each other, because we always fear he gonna sleep with my girlfriend, he gonna steal my car, he gonna steal my wallet, he gonna want to fight me, or he louder than me, or he smarter than me, or he a pimp, or he a simp, or he a beta. We have all these terms to separate each other and to create a hierarchy, and to, instead of saying it's okay, everyone doesn't have to be alpha. Everyone doesn't have to be beta. Everyone is at different levels of maturity and relationship intelligence and love language. And we come together and we lift each other up. We don't have to sit each other at separate tables simply because this brother is at a different level with his love language, with his relationships, with his finances. This is very important. This is why people are scared, because they hear us having this conversation. As we have these conversations, as we point out our flaws, we grow, we build, we become this thing that we were never supposed to become. And it's because of the environment. So when BGS talks about the environment, he is correct. But what's happening is we are separating the men from the boys, and we are separating the women from the men. And with that, we are able to have these conversations, and we are able to grow each other and cut each other and make each other better. This was never supposed to happen. So there is an environmental change that we can, like Kev said, we have to take advantage. We have to understand the complexities. It's more than just opportunity. It's an environmental shift. We have to be those men and understand that and continue to move forward. Focus on us. Focus on the relationship amongst men, black men, and our trust for one another. When we meet each other for the first time, we have to admit our own issues amongst each other. Work on that. Become a solidified group like we were talking about in the chat. That is what they are afraid of. And then we move to that networking business phase. And as we do this, let them who are women, who are supposed to be curved, who are supposed to conform, let them curve and conform to us as we do our work. Thank you, bro. That's what I was a little passionate. I had to get that out.
Okay then. I mean, you said a lot of things, based in brotherhood and unity, and those are messages that we need to hear more often. That is okay to not hate each other. I would say. All right, Donnie, what's going on?
Man, I'm taking that in. That man had a mouthful, but it was a powerful statement.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is, and we thank you for it. But
And he
let's.
touched on a lot of things too. Different classes calling people. Can you hear me? By the way, you can hear me
Yes,
good.
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, he touched on a lot of things. He touched on different classes calling people simps, the dollar amount. Those are a lot of things that I hear on a consistent basis. And just a disagreement, nigga. Nigga, you can't be right. You broke. Wow, okay. Oh, nigga, you a simp. And a lot of these terms come into play when you just want to invalidate somebody's argument. And you know what? He really touched on a powerful nerve there. I've seen this so many times. We got to get rid of that, and we got to move forward with the conversation and have healthy dialogue.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, conversations are better served productive than unproductive. Or there's nothing wrong with entertaining yourself as well, but it's not really any fun when when things get reduced to beef or something like that. And I'm sure, like most people don't want their private lives invaded. Like uh, let, let me touch on something real quick. Why a lot of people talk through avatars instead of showing their faces. And
Uh
I'm
oh.
yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm not criticizing people with avatars. I'm not, because that's just an easy talking point. And I do understand some of the sentiment that comes with this. This better be Roger this time.
Yo, fuck it. Fuck you too, nigga. No, I'm
Yeah,
playing.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. Roger, speak.
And I thought there was a place for brotherhood. Felt like I was getting threatened
Everybody
on the
but
way
the
in.
Bulls, everybody but Bulls fans is allowed at the table.
Oh,
Uh, uh,
it's a dangerous spot up in here. Dangerous
Oh,
spot.
here we go. Here we go.
I'm just saying that the hate is already on. You know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
already taking place.
we
Now,
using all
but
type of 4 letter, 5 letter words.
I'm saying I felt like I walked to the door and somebody threw something at me. But it's all good.
How
It's
many
all good.
letters? How many letters is hate? H. Yeah, that's a 4 letter word. That's a 4 letter.
But you know what though? You laid down some real stuff. And honestly, a lot of guys haven't taken notice that there's I mean, Kevin, you asked a great question. Do people hate to have a problem with the black manosphere or black men? And the answer is absolutely both. It is, because the black manosphere is men in real time doing things to better themselves and better their community, and is men taking leadership positions in different areas that they feel that they need to lead in, or different areas that they feel they're competent in. And truth be told, people don't like that. You know, there's always been a problem with black men that take on leadership, and women really want to promote that black men don't know how to take on leadership. So why would they be okay with the black manosphere when you have multiple men who just showing up from all over the country saying, you know what, I'm gonna step out and be a leader in this particular thing? That ain't good for them. It hurts their narrative. It hurts the mainstream's narrative about black men. It doesn't do anyone a favor other than black men. And that's probably, well, I ain't gonna say it won't do anyone else a favor, because anyone who's cool with black men, it will help them too. But if you're not cool with black men, it doesn't service you at all. So because we live in a country where hating black men is the American way, anyone who's accepted that way of thinking, which is, a lot of folks, they're gonna have a problem with it at the end of the day. You know, people do not want to see black men help black men. How do you get black men to service you if they out there helping each other. That's a hard trick right there. So I totally get why people don't want to see black men come together, and people don't want black men to lead, because you cannot have a dysfunctional community if you got too many brothers stepping up to lead. And black men are showing great leadership, because from an overall standpoint, because I mean, people who only know what's going on in the mainstream don't know it. But for people to find out that more than half of black men have no children at all, and then a lot of the black men with children had their children in the marriage, that says a whole lot. See, black men are stepping up and they're doing the things they're supposed to do. And when you have that going on, while also you have women who are more than a 70 percentile rate of having children out of wedlock, at some point in time, you got to start asking your question. Well, if people want black men to lead, that's one thing. But do they actually want to follow their leadership? Because that's something totally different. You could say all day about a man that's supposed to lead, but did you follow a man that was leading? And if you didn't follow a man that was leading, the problem ain't the men. The problem is you, because you didn't want to pick a leader. And black men are holding people accountable for not picking leaders. And that's a tough pill for just about everybody to swallow.
Indeed, Roger. Excellent points. And some of the people in the chat do agree. And yeah, that means that Roger's right. I guess. Yeah, but the excellent points you're making. But Noise, thank you for the super chat. Says excellent conversation. All right. So yeah, the problem is a lot of the problem that I would find that it is the acceptance that black men know that we are getting the raw deal, and we're expressing some of our disdain for it, but we're also saying things like, well, this is the way that things have to be done, and this is the way that we experience things that have actually worked in favor of the black community. And in order for us to get to a point of, I would say, healing, we're going to have to listen to each other at some point. And I'm talking about the listening without all the overt and covert disrespect. Because I'm gonna tell you out right now. I mean, unless like people are toying with you or whatever, it's no fun really to try to make reason with a disrespectful person. Like I was watching what's his name, Hammer, and he had this particular female on, and she was just, her whole goal was just to outshout everybody who came up there to oppose her. And where did we get to a place where people thought that shit was cool? That you had to outshout somebody in order to win the discussion. It makes you look for real like a oblivious moron when you are unwilling to listen to the other side of the argument purposely just to disrupt everything. And I don't understand why that makes sense to Negroes that are in observance of it. It's like you can be totally disrespectful, and then you got people in the chat bringing up, well, both of us need to work on making things better in this community. Both of us got issues, and you clearly see this bitch being disrespectful. So let's discuss that mentality for a second. The fact of the matter is people think that it's a good idea to be disrespectful because the behavior is commonplace. We're used to this. We're used to, since we were so used to black male silence, it's become a huge shock for black men to actually speak.
You know who as you say that, I'm thinking about Ice Cube. Because think about this space. A lot of people combat a lot of the things we say, but I think the reason things are growing and solidifying, because like Roger had a show called You Have Become Worthless. Like this is happening in real time in these guys' face, and it's bringing them to an awareness and an awakening. What you just described is very colorful commentary, but we have a real life example. We had to watch a true king, a true leader, and probably a Laker fan, but someone who we all look up to was told, swat it down. You're not allowed to be a leader. Your leadership, your guidance is not wanted. It is not needed. It is not respected. It is not valued. I saw the look on his face. He's like, me, Ice Cube, NWA. I wrote this for the entire Black community as a whole. It includes you. I love you. No. They wanted a specific carve out, but specifically what they were saying is what we see what we saw in the fallout is you were not going to be allowed to dictate what was going to come. We have already made our deal, and it does not include you. You are not allowed to be a leader. So as you guys were talking about the leader, I was just thinking about, we had a real life example, and I think that's what's bringing a lot of people to this space. We saw someone who is a respected father, husband, businessman, intelligent by all measures, should have been allowed to just be included in the conversation. And he was told no. See, these are realities we cannot ignore. This is what the playing field is. So anybody who may be disagreeing with the two gentlemen just said, that's a real life example for you. Maybe you should go look at that interview again, because it's not up for debate.
And that's exactly what people don't want. A lot of folks do not want somebody, especially someone as successful as Ice Cube, to actually do something on the forefront and to be out in front being a leader. That's exactly what they don't want, because that would totally go against the narrative that a lot of people are trying to push. Because the narrative that they want to push is Black men are incompetent, therefore they should not be a leader, therefore women have to lead, as if anyone's making them do so. And they usually talking about women being leader, and they usually go back to what? Being single mothers. No one in this country has an obligation to be a single mother. Okay? Even if you were unfortunate enough to become a single mother because you had a husband that passed away, you still don't actually have to be one. You could give your child away if you wanted to. Now, you wouldn't expect a mother to do that just because the husband passed away. But the point is, there is zero obligation to be a single mother in this country. Zero. So women say, well, we have to be strong because blah, blah, blah. Not everything that attached to being a single mother is a lie. Nobody asked you to do it. You went out there, you found somebody to have sex with until you got pregnant. You had enough sex until you got pregnant. See, a lot of people don't push that, because we had like people get pregnant every time they have sex. No, people don't get pregnant that much. There's plenty of people who've been married having sex for decades, and they only got so many children. If you got pregnant every time you had sex, these folks would have 500, 600 kids, but they don't. So the issue is that people don't want Black men, especially extremely successful Black men, to be leaders. Now, see, it would be one thing if they said, well, we needed you to show that you could lead in this other area first. That would be one thing. Okay, but when you talk about somebody with the success level of Ice Cube, come on now, there's nothing to question. Zero to question when it comes to him. We know who he stands for. We know about the type of stuff that he was involved in, the type of movies he was trying to push, the type of images he do. People can say a lot about Ice Cube, but he's been on the forefront of fighting for Black people. Yes, even in his NWA days. There's a lot of stuff they stuck in those records too. So to see a man say, hey, I've made a plan for Black people with experts, and then you have people upset saying that, you know what, we need our own separate thing because we're women. See, that was just folks telling on themselves. That's all that really was.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give an example of Ice Cube real quick. I was thinking about this earlier today. Ice Cube wrote "Fuck the Police," right? Now the 2021 version of that is "Defund the Police." So Ice Cube had already instilled this ideal in you from then. So defund the police is just like saying fuck the police. Terrible analogy anyway, but let me call out this super chat. Sun is hot raw. Says they want leadership without the orders or authority. Their ideal of a leader is for a black man to fix and solve everybody's problems without giving directives. Basically, is all on them. Yeah, I do kind of agree with that. It's like we're supposed to build all these fortresses. We're supposed to set up all these sons of single mothers, go slap them over the head, and tell them to become the become the massive generals and go defeat the white man and white supremacy, and let me pay all your bills and give y'all bags of money, and then I guess you'll give us some respect then. Or something like that. They want us to they want us to put on the Superman cape and prevent everything that happens to them before it happens to them.
The people
Basically setting people pleaser, setting some kind of impossible standard, just for black men, without, abandoning reality to push such a miserable doctrine. Instead of just a basic, hey, why don't you just keep your fucking ass out of trouble? Don't do stupid shit. If some man sticks his dick inside of you and he busts a nut and you're not requiring him to wear a condom, there are things that can happen.
Well, you know what, Karen? I'm gonna say most of that they asking black men to do is just busy work. Do y'all remember when you probably did it when you were like a child, probably in grammar school, when you would get like assignments, and then later on as you grew up you found out the assignments were just busy work. It was work that really didn't mean anything. It really wasn't going to affect your grade, but they just wanted the classroom to be doing something. It's called busy work. The stuff that black women ask black men to do is just busy work. They don't care about any of it. They don't care about you defeating white supremacy. They don't care about building anything. And we can see this because I ask women specifically, what do you mean by building? Okay. Most of them are never talking about building businesses. Most of them are never talking about, well, it's a very, very small amount that talk about like building schools or something like that. And everything that they say they want a black man to build, I ask them, well, how have you been in cooperation of that thing happening? And no one has happened. So Guess what? That means it was just busy work in the first place.
Yeah. I was listening to this discussion. I don't know if it was to break down. It was one of these YouTube channels, and one of these silly little girls was talking about black men don't build, y'all don't build me nothing, and all the other stuff. Really, they just talking about build them a house, build them the house they want. But then she was like, y'all don't build no schools, and I was like, yeah, we do build schools, or we occupy buildings and start schools. I gave an example of the Brock brothers. In Montgomery, Alabama, Valiant Cross Academy, a boys' school. So, there are black men out there that are building and that are doing things that are to turn the tide and make a better community and a society for black men and black people overall. But those efforts are far ignored just to be on some petty shit.
We talking about a mental illness. As you guys were describing it, it's like, think about like the person you're describing is like a mentally ill person. I talked about it on when I define the people pleaser, it said it's someone who goes out of their way to pacify someone else, and it says they do it because their lack of self-love and their insecurity, and I juxtapose that against someone who's being selfish. And what I came to find is that it's truly an unhealthy behavior that they conjure up in young black boys, because a healthy human man, like the person Roger talks about, people might think is like arrogant or masculine, but this is just this is what a healthy man who loves himself and has confidence, these are the decisions that he would make. And typically we're talking about a mentally ill person who would sacrifice themselves for and that's what, because I've been that person. When you talk about the guard dog, I've been that guard dog. That's how I was trained, and that's how I define myself, my masculinity, by how good of a guard dog I was. I saw what was the fix it thing you were talking about. Do you get appreciated? Like, no. You know what I mean? But that is how we are raised and taught to be as black men. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the savior. This is where the whole Captain Save-A-Hole song and nomenclature, that's where it comes from. Because that is what is acceptable. That is what is expected. That's what you taught to be by the single mom. Help pay the rent, help pay the bills. She makes sure that the first woman you meet is similar to her, because she can't compete with her. As long as you in the spell of that woman, then you cannot be with a woman who is in competition with her. She makes sure that. It's not a we talking about getting men, and specifically black men who are dealing with this. It's a mental illness that you suffering from, that you've been trained into. Because if you really were healthy mentally, and you truly loved and you like a child of God, you respected who you were, you know what I'm saying? You would naturally not do these things. You would naturally not have these healthy boundaries. When some of these things, I know people from other communities hear us like, are y'all really talking about y'all on pebble grabbing? Like, yeah, because we dealing with a mental illness that's been laid down by these people who had a title and had responsibility, but chose not to do some sinister with that title and responsibility. It's a mental illness that we suffering from.
Yeah, hey, if you direct yourselves to the screen, I got a Google search up for Valiant Cross Academy. Is in no small part trying to reinforce my point that black men do build, and this is being done for black boys. These are black men that just don't talk about it. These are black men who are about it. So, like I said, I wasn't bullshitting. I wasn't lying when I said that there are schools built by black men to pull black boys out of that statistic that they are going to end up dead or in jail. So a lot of you that go around with this bullshit rhetoric, y'all full of it. There are plenty of black men out there making positive moves, especially for our black boys. Like, y'all just ignore it. You don't want to do the research. You just want to put black men in this sunken place. Look at that. You can't criticize any effort like that. I went to school with this guy. His name is Anthony Brock. Like, didn't see it in him. I mean, smart guy, reserved, kept to himself. I mean, he was a part of one of these sweetheart couples. I remember that about him. But he grew up into quite the man. This is stuff that, this is the kind of thing that happens in communities across America. There are plenty of men that do these kinds of things that get ignored because y'all want to stick to dumbass WS narratives. It's disheartening and it pisses me the fuck off. So, just wanted to make sure that you know that I wasn't full of it. Let's look at some of these other images too. I mean, how can you knock anything about this? This nice stories coming out of it. It's just that you motherfuckers want to stick to that mess. Okay. Hello. 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 Anybody there?
We here, we here,
Yeah,
we
we
here.
I'm here.
good.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Can I
Did
would
you
like
hear?
to
Did
say,
you hear?
Kevin.
Did you hear that? Any of that at all?
No, we saw that. We saw the pictures. We heard that was dope. That was dope.
Did you hear it? Like, cause I think my signal kind of went out. I don't know. Just
At the end, it went out, but we got the majority. We saw the pictures and we heard what you said. You went to school with that brother.
yeah, I went to school with that brother. Like, there are plenty of black men out here doing things, and I just gave an example from my hometown. I bet those people out there complaining about everything, they got examples in their hometown too of black men doing shit.
But you know what, yeah, women. How much did you donate to Dr. Umar's school? Because if they mess with him the way they act like they mess with
Nigga,
him,
I,
and the
I,
man
don't-
is building a school for black
I don't,
children.
I don't quite know if we want to use Dr. Umar.
No, 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 no. Hold on, no. You
I like
hear
Dr.
what I'm
Umar.
saying though.
I like Dr.
No,
Umar.
no.
I like
What
him,
I'm
but the
saying
nigga
ain't
was
got
at the
really.
casino.
Hold on, bro. Because what I'm saying ain't got nothing to do with Dr. Umar. It ain't got really nothing to do with him. The man putting on man say he's looking for money to build a school. Okay, who's the school for? These children. Who are the main people to be focused on? These boys of these single mothers, where you can have your kid board, get room, board, the whole enchilada. Kid learn all the type of stuff as time go on. It's supposed to open up to the girls too. That being the case, Dr. Umar ain't the issue. How come they just didn't give that man the money to build that school? You see what I'm saying? If 10 million women gave him $50, he got all the money he need to build that school.
I
He
always
got
wondered
all
that.
the money he need. You see what I'm saying? So
I
my my,
always
my
wondered
point
that.
is they talk a lot of stuff, but when you start looking at the actions to say, do you have actions to go along with what they talking about? The actions ain't there. You see what I'm saying? Dr. Umar is just a dude. But the man had a plan to build a school and bring in all these other professionals.
If
Okay?
Umar stopped being a damn simp and had appealed to the manosphere, that school would be built by now. That's the problem. He appealed to those bitches instead of black men. That's the problem. That's why that school is not built.
And they cut his neck off every time. They've been cutting his neck off for 10
Mm-hmm.
years.
But you gotta understand that dude he's an ain't shit nigga for the. Let's just be honest with you.
Bro, it don't matter. The whole point is they didn't want the school.
They
I
didn't
don't
want
care
the
about Dr.
school.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I don't care about Dr. Umar, his reputation, anything like that. The women didn't want the school. They still don't want the school. And they're showing that they do not want that school. They have no interest in any man building up a school on their dollar who's going to take care of black boys, especially. They don't want it. It's
So,
that
so,
simple.
so then you have to ask the question, what the fuck is Umar doing? What has he been doing the last, I don't know, however number of years he's been doing this? What
Pandering
has
for
been his
pussy.
real mission? Has his
Pandering for
mission
pussy.
has his mission been a fruitless one,
No, no,
or has his mission been just as it's been to basically scam money?
no. Umar taught black people what an IEP is. He told black mothers and black fathers who are not in their black children's life how the school capitalizes and benefit from your black boy being in special ed. They get twice the amount of money. He broke down ADD versus ADHD and why they want to do IEPs and put your kids on medication.
We're not questioning Umar's competence as a
Right.
child psychologist. As best I can tell, he is an excellent child psychologist.
But
The
that's my
issue, let me
that's my
finish.
affinity
Let,
for him.
let me
No
let
one
me
knew these things.
let
No
me
one knew.
finish. Let me finish. Perfect. The issue is not his qualifications or his talent as a child psychologist. The issue is his actual effort and merit to build a damn school for black boys. Those are two very different issues.
Well, Black Guru, what I'm saying is, even before you get to his merit to even build the school, the thing was, if they wanted the school, he'd have had the money.
But Roger, you're not listening to me. The error that was made here was he appealed to black women when he should have appealed to, if he had any intention at all, if he had any real intention at all to build and operate a school, he should not have ever appealed to black women. Look, if he is a professional in the school system, which means that he has actually interacted with black women, black mothers, he know better than you know that they on some fuck shit. We know much better than you know that they on some fuck shit. So the fact
I am
that
not
You
we've been
giving
disagreeing.
him too much
embroiled
credit.
in
You
this for
giving him
10 fucking years
you
and
giving him
there
too
is
much
no
credit.
school, you really have to question what the fuck has he been actually doing.
No. Black Guru, I'm not questioning what you said at all. I
Yeah,
can
you right.
easily
He
agree
right.
with
Black
you.
Guru.
All,
Yeah,
all,
Black Guru.
all,
You
all
right.
I'm saying is, the
You
only
right.
thing I'm saying is, the women never wanted the
Look,
school either.
look, let's be real. Fuck, LeBron James could have built that damn school.
No,
He could
I get that.
have came up with a decent damn plan. LeBron James would have built that school. This
No,
is
no.
all about Umar being on some fuck shit, being on
No,
some gynocentric matriarchal bullshit. That's why there is no school.
what? But I'm saying, even if you had a different dude doing it, the women didn't want the school anyway. They
Okay, but
never wanted the school.
we know they don't give a shit
I
about you. We know that.
listen.
We know they don't want anything for the boys.
Uru
We
is the
know that.
elder here. He got 100% eyes on you. You got to understand this, and this is what I was getting at. He got the same problem I had with MLK. He's great. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about. If anybody was to lead that school, it should be him. However, he can't keep his mind off of fat ass. You've seen this nigga
Yeah,
with the conscious stripper. So
yeah,
his mindset was, let me get to school, but on the way to me getting to school, I'm gonna get every skirt I can. I'm gonna pander
yeah.
these women, and I'm gonna be the papa, and these women gonna love me, and all this shit.
That's
While
why I
that man
say,
could have
He
brought
on
his
some
ass to the
Pied
manosphere,
Piper black ass bullshit.
that,
That's
and
what
you
he's on.
know, just like I know, when I brought my homie over to your channel, we went ahead and got him money for his lawyer fees. Did we not? That was one show. Imagine if Umar had came over here and went to DGS, had went to Ed, had went to O'Shea, had went to
Look,
just down the line. That school
the
would have been built
money
four
that
times over.
Kevin Samuels alone is getting could have built that damn school. We know that. We know
Yeah.
that.
My only point was that him trying to build a school, especially through women, is a clear example that black women do not want black men's leadership. That was my point.
I mean,
That was my
okay,
point.
yeah, and well, we know that. We know that. You know, I mean, and look, I appreciate what you're saying, but I mean, we talk every day about just how much of the fuck shit that they're on. Look,
Mm.
they don't they ain't feeling y'all, man. They don't give a fuck, man. I don't. I was listening, Roger. I heard you on Hammer's channel, and I'm disappointed in him. I really am. I,
God damn.
it's habitual line steppers
I, I
tonight.
you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was listening to Hammer. I heard you, Roger. I appreciate what you was attempting to do. I was disappointed in how Hammer moderated those women. And by the way, Roger, you saw a classic example on Hammer's channel as to why, if you recall, I have expressed many reservations about black women having any sort of voice in this environment. Those were classic examples of that. Classic examples of that. Like template examples of that. Because those, you guys, I listen to you and you expect these women to fight fair. Have you guys had sisters? Did you guys grow up with sisters?
I do.
Yeah, my sister
I,
was younger, and not only that, she was the
Supreme
baby.
victim.
Do you recall when, your sisters would want to play with you or want to fight with you and they never played fair, right? And anytime you were getting the best of them, what did they do? They called your mother, they called your
Telling.
father, right? That's what they
Yeah, that's
do.
their job.
That's
That's
what
their
they do.
job. The
Now,
truth.
I was listening to Hammer's channel. This is the thing that stood out to me, and I don't know why this was occurring, but for some reason, the volume on her voice was higher than all the other men, which was one of the reasons why they were able to successfully talk over you all. And I tried to tell Hammer her volume is higher than Roger, so it's easy for her to talk over you. And look, you cannot have these bitches in these environments talking
Yeah,
over
ooh,
y'all like that.
oh,
Y'all can't do that, brother.
Or the thing is, that's what Hammer wanted for whatever his reason. I'm gonna try to give him some level of benefit of doubt that he's young, but I mean, I literally said, because I came up a second time, I literally said that to him, like, man, you got to check your guess or something. Like, you just can't have people talking over people. And then when I was talking to the lady, the second lady I talked to, I said, man, bro, she asked me a question. I started answering her question. Now she's talking on top of me, and now saying that I'm yelling so she can be a victim. Like, bro, what you gonna do
And,
about this?
and here's a problem with that, Roger. He had almost 1,000 live listeners on that stream at some point. So she was, I mean, man, I'm sure she had her finger between her legs that whole time through. I mean, she was getting off that whole time. You can't let
Well,
them do that in this
she
environment.
was
You can't let them do this. You can't let them do
she
that.
was definitely she was definitely being encouraged. There was actually a lady in the background feeding her answers
Right,
when I was talking the second time. So
right.
that, that's why I was like, but then it's Hammer's channel. So my thing is, but I said before, we got to deal with this psychology that, well, this how black men have been socialized to be afraid of black women. I don't know what was going on with Hammer, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to put that brother down, but my thing is, what was going on in your mind that you allowed that to happen, and you'll let a woman ask a question when a person gives an answer to a question because she think I ain't got no answer. Then you gonna let her start talking over me, and even with the first woman, to I know exactly why she was doing what she was doing. But what about your mother? You're trying to get me in a trap to say if my mother did it, I'm supposed to give it a pass. No, I'm not giving it a pass just because my mama do something. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gets a
See,
pass with
see,
me like that.
one of the
But
reasons
it
why
couldn't be.
I don't like to talk to women in this environment is that they don't observe any protocol of any sort, protocols of evidence, of fact, of decorum, of etiquette, of respect. They don't observe any at all. Whatever is convenient for them in the moment, that is what they will utilize. That's the reason why I've always been circumspect about them being in this environment, because men typically attempt to observe some sort of standard of behavior, and women, especially black women, feel no obligation towards that. So you're in a situation where you're having a discussion with them and you're attempting to play by some sort of rules, and they're not playing by any rules at all. And if you listen to the discussion long enough, they appear to be winning an argument when their argument is not based on anything at all other than their particular whim in that particular moment. That's why I've always been very circumspect about allowing too many women in this environment.
I,
It's going to taint the environment.
I observed a lot of that, and she was being nothing but disrespectful, and she really actually thought that was funny. And that's what most of these broads do. They know they don't have an argument. It's like I like to call one foot in the grave. They already know they got one foot in the grave, so they're gonna go to hell on the way out. So, well,
mm.
not one foot in the grave, one foot in hell. But either way, they know they're fucked, and they know their personality is fucked and their situations are fucked, so they don't care. They're gonna cuss you out. They're gonna put up all their defense mechanisms, and they go with that like need to be right bullshit as well. But let me
But
go.
if you observe Kevin Samuels, uh, you know, if you notice Kevin Samuels, he give them very little opportunity at all to do that, because he know that it's not just about fact. and empirical evidence or whatever. It is about emotion. It is about momentum. It is about aura, right? And if you let them get going for too long, they create an environment. They change the environment with their nonsense. I mean, that those women were essentially holding court on Hammer's channel for over what, 5 hours. And,
Jesus.
and and like I said, there were close to about 1,000 live viewers on that channel. You can't allow that to happen. You can't allow it to happen. That taints this environment.
Yeah, well, like I said, I did observe that, and they were being nothing but disrespectful. Hammer, Hammer is a young guy. He has to learn these things for himself. I mean, I'm cool with the kid, but yeah, he let them women run that shit a little bit too motherfucking much. I would not have let it go that far over here, but whatever goal he was trying to achieve over there in his channel, I'm going to say at the end of the day, it is his business if he wants to run
Roger
it like
is a
that.
prominent voice in the manosphere. He goes online every weekday. Charles, who's a police officer, military veteran, you know, on go like you can't you got to create and maintain some level of hierarchy, some level of respect, some level of um, stature, esteem for this environment. You can't let Rogers on. He's speaking on behalf of black men every day. Every day, you cannot allow some bitch to come in the environment and piss her and spray hyena piss all over the environment just like that. Look, I know I'm being um, maybe redundant and I'm being maybe somewhat hysterical, but I'm I'm doing this to emphasize a point, and that is, look, if you wanted to create and maintain some level of esteem for black men in this environment, then you must create some rule of order and etiquette specifically on these women. You must put them in a lower position when they're in this environment. And that's why, Roger, in the past, when you had women on your channel and I was particularly hard on them, that was for that reason. The point of that, the purpose of that was to no, they are not equivalent to men in this environment. They are not equal to men in this environment.
Not at
They
all.
have been allowed to be above men in this environment. You cannot do that.
No, I agree with you 100%, and that I'm looking at the fact that I know Hammer's young. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's right at all. I'm looking at the fact that he's young, so therefore he's been more socially engineered to be afraid of women, which is something I'm definitely gonna be tackling more and more and more. We got to get out of this thing of being afraid of women, because my thing is like, bro, why don't you just check the broad or any of the bras? You know
I
what I'm saying? Because
begged
like I
him.
said, I did talk to
If
both
he
of
had
two
just
of them.
muted her all he had to do was mute her a few times, and that would have compelled her to say, "Oh, well, he's trying to actually regulate my misbehavior here."
I didn't
What
like.
when I address
Hey,
Hammer,
let me say this real quick. I didn't like the way Officer Faulkner was treated. I'll say that much. I didn't like from what I saw, and I didn't like the way that the others got treated up there too. I started to watch your part, Roger, but it was like I got to the point where I had to start the broadcast. But let me read this super chat real quick. Sun is hot, raw. I don't know how. Thank you, by the way. I don't know how anyone can trust Umar to diagnose their child's mental state when he's clearly displaying mental health issues himself. Oh, wow. Uh,
woo,
I disagree with that. I have observed Umar Johnson several times. He appeared to be a highly skilled uh, professional in it. Look, uh, you know, you cannot. I don't think you can assume because someone has some misbehavior in their personal life that they're not highly skilled, highly trained, highly competent people in their professional life. I've seen many very accomplished, extraordinarily accomplished people who have some fuck shit in their personal life. So I disagree with that. I mean, JFK was running hoes all through the White House. You know, Martin Luther King was fucking women everywhere he went.
Oh,
You
don't
know,
say that
so
in front of Donnie. Oh no.
so I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think a lot of times some of your most talented people are able to compartmentalize their professional life from their personal life. And everything I've ever observed of Umar Johnson suggests that he is as talented and as skilled a professional, particularly with respect to black boys, as there is any. And I feel badly that he allowed his simping for black women to stall his school. I think if he had planned to have black men support the building of that school would be operating by now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, shout out to D Rock Den for this super sticker. Thank you very much for your support of the channel. And also, scrolling across the bottom of the screen is the usual messages and the Cash App. So, support the channel, Cash App, Super Chat, views, likes. I mean, it's like anything and everything is appreciated. And thank you for your support. I'm up to 60 likes and I have 55 watching right now, so that's a pretty good ratio. But if one of those likes isn't yours, please go hit the like button. We love likes here. Like the button. No, I mean, and if you are here for the first time and you're not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. We are discussing: is your problem the Black Manosphere or just black men? And yeah, it is both, and it is both individually and both put together actually. So yeah, and the displays of disrespect that black men have experienced in the past and today is why there is a Black Manosphere. As much as people used to complain about Tommy, everybody knows what Tommy is. I always call Tommy a reaction to the disrespect. Tommy would have not become so popular if the disrespect wasn't so potent. All right. Yeah, and also thank you, Perfect Timing Podcast, for some coming back. He had to go ahead and bounce. And the reason why the Black Manosphere is gaining so much momentum in black men movements and spaces in general is because that there are a bunch of black men that are out here in Western culture that are sick and tired of being sick and tired of seeing our community fall apart and not really having so much of a hand in it. There's plenty of things that have discouraged your average thinking black man from even participating in trying to get things right around here because we have faced so much criticism and vitriol for just being intelligent people. Now, one sentiment I've heard about this space is that the educated lames are taking over, and that is messing up the space. There are men in this space that believe that there should be a certain archetype that leads this space. And because of the numbers that KS is doing, then he is the obvious chosen leader of the space. And and people are often like, well, he's not a masculine, he's an effeminate archetype. That's y'all leader, blah, blah, blah.
There is no leader. There's no one leader. in this environment. Roger's a leader. VGS is a leader. Angry Man is a leader. Obsidian is a leader. There's no one individual. Kevin Samuels is a leader. I mean, look, Kevin Samuels has a lot of. Obviously, he has a bigger following than everyone else. But everything that Kevin Samuels that I've observed him say has come from someone else in the manosphere. I don't know if well, let me be fair. I would say most of what he has said to black women and whatever in this environment was authored by someone prior to him in this environment. So I don't see him necessarily as the thought leader of this environment, not in the least bit. And it's not an insult to him, it's more a credit to the very brilliant, the very industrious other men in this environment. And like I said, I would include you, Kevin. I would include you, Roger. I would.
Oh boy, Blackaroo, you good? Yeah, so they got him. They
They
got him.
got
Got
him.
Knockers working overtime.
He
They're
just,
working
let's just be
overtime.
honest. He just
Yeah.
didn't
Mean,
want to
So
say
men
Donnie.
speak.
He had to jump off.
yeah, I'm sorry. I moved my phone or whatever. So no, I mean, I applaud the success of Kevin Samuels, and I appreciate how his greater presence, his broader presence, has informed people who otherwise might not be informed of the burgeoning insight of black men. But I don't consider him to be in any way the leader. If he would be considered anything, at best it would be some sort of figurehead, you know.
Well, that leader thing is going to be pushed by a lot of gynocentric people. As I've said before on my channel, I had a friend whose wife, because he got married early, his wife used to do the same thing when he used to come out hang over at my spot. My spot was a hangout spot when we was younger, kicking it all the time, trying to get into the when we was really focused on trying to become professional rap artists and singers and things like that. My place basically became the kicking space. So it was men talking. So now and he didn't have his own father growing up. So now he goes around a bunch of men, then hears a bunch of men type ideas, men having discussion. Now he taking them home, and his wife would say stuff like, "Oh, well, Roger must be your daddy." This
Mm.
black women saying that Kevin Samuels was the leader, and it's no knock to Kevin Samuels. It's the same mentality. Kevin must be your daddy. Kevin Samuels is your leader. Kevin Samuels is thinking for you. This is all just a way to try to belittle black men and saying that black men cannot think for themselves. This is to mess with your ego so you'll have a
Right.
emotional reaction to what they're saying instead of just looking at stuff for what it is, which is basically what the women on Hammer Show was trying to do to me today. They was trying to get emotional reactions rather than just actually deal with whatever their particular problem was. So I like Kevin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some stuff he say I don't necessarily agree with, but from an overall standpoint, I like what he's doing. He is taking the message out there to a broader audience, and to me, it's a great thing because it's just people realizing that they haven't been paying attention to black men. Because I've had people even in my comments say certain stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, are you telling me that Kevin Samuel was saying the first time that you ever heard somebody say this type of stuff, or a man that think this way? Well, no, I said exactly. Y'all just ain't been paying attention as women. That's what the issue is. It ain't that men ain't said it. It's just you haven't paid attention. And the fact that you haven't paid attention, you have to look at yourself on that one. Why did you not care enough to pay attention as many times as you already heard? That's the issue with you. It's not an issue with black men. So I'm glad that he's putting a spotlight on it, because I say he's kind of a lightning rod to the points that are being made. That's really what it is. He's a lightning rod for it. So women just don't want to deal with it at the end of the day. And now they're attempting to do something I already knew they were going to attempt to do. Well, he's talking about high value men. So therefore, if you're not a high value man, you don't even qualify for the stuff that he says, which is kind of stupid, because mainly he's just talking about the four basic things that black men in general want out of black women. He can't even get to a lot of things that it would take to actually be involved with a high value man, because they ain't even got their basics together. Now, how you gonna talk about the complexities of being a husband of a man who's running a Fortune 500 company and you can't even get your weight together?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm.
But unfortunately, like, today or earlier, you couldn't really even sort of clearly communicate that point because the lack of moderation of, you know, that that particular discussion. And that's where, I just think in this environment, look, we come from different, phases of our lives and different backgrounds and whatever. But like I say, I think what mostly disturbed me about what was going on with Hammer, the discussion was bad, but the number of people that was listening to the discussion, that's what bothered me most. The fact that there were at some point close to about 1,000 people, live listeners. That's what that's what bothers me, and that's why, like I said earlier, I'm circumspect about. Because see, here's the thing: women will attract attention, but you got to be careful about how that attention manifests, and it what becomes of it, you know. And what I saw, unfortunately, was women, black women, doing typical black women shit. And I just don't think in this particular environment they get to style all over the fucking world. They get to style for white folks, for each other. They get to style in school. They get to style in church. They get to style at home. They get to do all. They get to show their ass everywhere they go. And I just don't think. I think you have to be careful not to allow this to be an environment in which they get to show their ass. And if I had a channel, and and if anything, maybe that you know, it's funny. I never thought more about creating a channel until after I listened to what happened today, because I just think you just can't allow that kind of thing to happen here. So
Well, you know what? Let me give you your props, Black Rule, because you are actually a thought leader in the space too. Because there's so many guys who, well, I know some people ask me like, man, what's up with Black Rule? He ain't been here for a couple of days. Man, Black Rule a grown man. He got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he's somewhere. But people, and I've seen it on other channels too. People really do appreciate you. So you are definitely one of the thought leaders, even though you go from one panel to another panel as you see fit. But you're definitely one of the thought leaders in the space. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? Extremely well respected. You're probably the most respected panelist in the space. You know what I'm saying? I don't think many people would argue that point, not from what I've seen. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to Hammer, I'm just looking at the fact that he's younger. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And if Hammer's hearing this, brother, we love you. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
want you to keep doing your
yeah,
thing. But you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I'll continue to support him. I just, I'm, I just, I view, I kind of think of what's going on here in the manosphere is a very sort of precious sort of building of the esteem of black men, right? Where after generations of black men having no voice, having everything being dictated to them, and black men being accused of everything from being criminals to being abusers to abandoning their children to being all the things. I think of this being one of the few environments in which the real and true narrative of black men can be wrought, can be maintained, can be accurately and fully and fairly communicated. And so I am very sensitive about black women coming into this environment and tainting that. I'm very sensitive towards that. And so I am going to probably be somewhat belligerent towards any efforts that women make to do that, because until proven otherwise, I just pretty much hold most black women in suspect when they come here. When they come, whether it's your channel, Roger, whether it's your channel, Kevin, Donnie, uh, BGS, any channel, I'm going to, unless they have a track record. Otherwise, I'm going to hold them in almost in contempt because their record is such.
I actually think that's justified. Because I mean, even women who come in, a lot of them will start off sweet before they go right into their feminist role, and
Exactly.
then and there's such feminists that they don't even know they're feminists half the time.
Right.
Well, I ain't gonna even say half the time. Most of the time, they'll say like they don't know they're feminists. But that's why I say that
Well,
we just
they've
gotta
been
hold them accountable.
trained to say that they're not feminist because they know that feminism or feminist is a loaded term. So to me, actually, I actually think they're worse. They are worse than women who proclaim feminism because in addition to being feminists, they're also liars and deceivers. So they're actually worse. I would much rather a woman proudly, open, and defiantly declare herself to be feminist because at least she's being honest. What you have, especially amongst black women, because actually I think white women, if they are devoutly feminists, are more inclined to declare such. But what you have very often amongst black women are the most ardent feminist bitches. Yet they will argue over and over again. I'm not a feminist. I don't believe in feminism. And every damn thing they do is feminist. We've all seen it. You've seen it. You'll
Absolutely.
have a conversation with a woman on your channel. I've seen you. When you've had a conversation with a woman on the channel, and one of the first things she'll say is she's not a feminist, but every goddamn thing she says after that supports feminism. And they can say that shit with a straight face. And and, and they
That's them.
suffer no embarrassment. They suffer no shame for their very disreputable, very dishonest behavior. They're not at all made to even suffer for being the fucking liars that they are. That's what they do. So in addition to being a feminist, lying about it, they don't even suffer anything for being liars.
And I think that has something to do with the fact that from a majority standpoint, black men are trained not to question or call black women out for lying, and which is probably one of the reasons I say it so much on my show because I say that that's the one thing we can depend on. We can depend on black women lying to us and
Hmm.
black women lying on us. We
I,
definitely can
I
depend on
applaud
that.
you. I definitely applaud you for saying that. And that should be said even more than it's said. You definitely can count on them lying on you and about you. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So I think because we've been socialized to be afraid of them, we just don't check them when it comes to them lying. So like folks who have a problem with the Black Manosphere, the main problem with the Black Manosphere is it's working. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We've had too many women on too many different channels who said, you know what, this information I got from y'all has been good and it has worked. And there's been too many men who said I've used information from this place and that place and it helped me out a great deal. So I think the main problem with the Black Manosphere right now, and the reason that it's taking so much heat right now, is because it's been around long enough to show proof that it's working.
Hmm.
If it wasn't working, I don't think nobody care. But now
Yeah,
you got black men
it
standing up
definitely
for
is
themselves.
working. But my only concern, I mean, it definitely is. I mean, you had what's his name, Last Zulu on your one of your recent streams, and he was talking specifically about how lessons that he had learned in this environment had informed his mating choices, which appear, as he described, to be very effective. So I was very happy to hear what he's saying. But here, this is what to me the lessons of the Black Panthers and the civil rights, is always is you got to be proactive in terms of defending yourself. You can't be reactive. You cannot wait until your enemy act and then react. You have to presume that these people are out to get you. They're out to undermine you. You have to anticipate how they're going to undermine you, and you have to have some program in place to interdict such before whatever action they take against you catches root. And too often, we black men, unfortunately, we have reacted, and often too late. And then next thing you know, the serious damage is done, and now we're having to invest a whole lot of effort and energy and resources to make up for the fact that we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared to proactively deal with something we knew what would happen. There are going to be more women. There are going to be more white guys. We had a couple of white guys appear on your channel, Roger, recently. You know, that kind of stuff is going to ramp up. You know, there's going to be efforts to confuse the message. That's going to increase. They're going to go into people's personal lives and all kinds of bullshit. It's only going to get worse. You know, you have to assume that that's what's going to happen, and be prepared to handle that, because like you say, the
Well,
message is effective. It is changing the lives of black men, and we know America is a pyramid scheme. America is a pyramid scheme that requires black men to be at the base of the pyramid. And so any effort that black men make to not be at the bottom of that pyramid scheme, there's going to be some very active, willful, aggressive efforts to stop those men eventually.
absolutely. And I think, you know what I'm saying? I just think that people are afraid of a legitimate future being plausible. It is a very legitimate conclusion that you can come to, that because of the Black Manosphere and the fact that it's steady reaching even younger folks in their 20s and even some guys in their teens,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be able to hit them upside the head in their younger years and then them be paying for it until their 30s and their 40s. You're not gonna necessarily be able to, you know, like this whole thing about black men, more than half of us uh, not having children. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna be able to fool these guys into just going out and having a baby, not knowing any better, because now they're gonna be looking at, okay, well, how come other guys ain't got no kids all over the place? I need to know what's going on. So even the people that's not hearing the Black Manosphere, they're gonna be affected by it. You know, when men are talking about get yourself together, make sure you're in a certain position to do this, and especially be in position to lead, which I'm pretty sure is one of the worst things that people feel is coming out of this space. Men are talking about make sure you're in position to lead. They don't want that message out there, you know. So I really honestly believe it's only getting attacked more and more because, man, it's been around maybe 10 years now. It's really being effective, you know, and you can't stop the floodgates at this point. They can try, but I don't really think they can.
Well, I've kind of gone on and on. So, you know, Skinner, why Skinner, please.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah,
Oh,
you.
why
Doing all
Skinner?
right, brother.
Just sitting here listening, man. I had to jump on. I think that the problem is more with black men than it is with the Black Manosphere. I really do. Because if you go outside the Manosphere, uh, I think that's where you get more negative uh, commentary from. I think there's more positive in the Manosphere than it is about black men on the outside of the Manosphere. And I have a question for Black Guru. You know, we
Sure.
was earlier we was talking about Umar Johnson,
Yeah.
and what I'm wondering is why, because he mentioned before he mentioned he needed $250,000 to actually get. I think he has 2 schools open for the plumbing or whatever.
He has the
But
campus, so what he's looking for is the money for the HVAC and the electrical.
right. So where's all the black men that are millionaires? Where are they? I mean,
See, I don't think
you got
well
entertainers.
all
You got,
right,
you know
Robert
what I'm
Smith.
saying? You got
No,
NFL players. You have NBA players.
okay, let me answer your question.
Okay.
Now, Robert Smith alone paid somewhere in excess of what, $30 million off of the debt of black men at Morehouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't think, had Umar Johnson done a decent job of presenting his idea to Robert Smith, that he would not have funded that program? Of course he would have funded that. I mean, LeBron James himself alone has built several schools. The issue is not that black men are not willing to support worthwhile efforts. As I said earlier, the problem is Umar Johnson should have allowed someone else to actually head up the actual funding of that school. See, we can't do everything ourselves. Like I said, I think Umar Johnson is an excellent, as best I can tell, he's an excellent child psychologist, particularly probably with particular emphasis and expertise in dealing with black boys. And he probably would be a good school master. But that doesn't mean he necessarily should be involved in the actual funding and building of the school. That's the problem. Those
But
are very different. Those are
so you're
very different skills. And
yeah.
he's compromised by the fact that he's doing this hotep gynocentric shit. You know, that shouldn't have anything to do with building and funding a school for black boys. That's the problem. If he were really serious, the actual funding and building of the school, he would have partnered with someone else, and that would have been that would have been that other person's job. But Umar is so egocentric and so uh self glorifying that he is undermined, and he is too mired in this, like I say, this whole gynocentric hotep shit. Is too much going on there.
So they don't
I,
trust the guy. That what
I,
you're
I
saying? That's the bottom line.
well, I think you cannot trust him because he's compromised because of the complexities of his varying points of interest. I don't know. I think he probably genuinely wants to build a school. I also think he himself is not qualified to do that. Now, whether or not he's qualified to be the headmaster of the school, that's a different thing. He may be qualified to be the headmaster of the school. I don't think he's necessarily qualified to actually be the founder of the school. Those are two different things.
I agree with you, Black World. See, this is the thing, Why Skinner Man Cave. My father and his brothers, they were in all types of form of construction. I'm talking about carpentry, electrician, the whole enchilada. They literally, if they had the materials, they can literally put the house together from the foundation to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's certain things that I know because I'm simply a son and a nephew of those men. Okay, now if I'm trying to put a house together and somebody comes over and they're actually in that profession, even though it's the house I'm putting together for whatever reason, even if I'm in charge of the money, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to defer leadership in certain areas because that's what they do professionally. I think Umar's issue is that when you have this like this Highlander complex where one guy has to be that HNIC. He gotta shine. He gotta show everybody he the man.
Yeah.
That's where that guy, and that's a gynocentric way of thinking. I have to be the man no matter what. You know, even when I'm on my show, when Black Guru was there, when Black Guru started talking, I shut up. Why? Because he's my elder at the end of the day. And I understand the importance of an elder and the importance of gaining wisdom from those who would not always be around to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? We, Black men in the community, we have not been taught that. If someone taught Dr. Umar the importance of a more qualified person taking lead in a certain position, you can get your shine from getting the school built. But it's a lot easier to get your shine if you just brought in an architect, you know, who had connections with people that and that school would have been built by now.
Well, that's tough. If you got 2 degrees, and you learn something about.
But when you operate,
you know, you ever heard the phrase "jack of all trades, master of none"?
Yeah.
You know, you can't be the master of everything. You know,
that's his problem.
He's a master, I believe, at child psychology. I do think he probably would be an excellent headmaster of a school for Black boys because of his background. I genuinely believe that. That don't dictating how the school is built and the plumbing systems and all that bullshit.
Well, hell, that just sound that's some selfish shit to me. You know, because if you can get the money, that's selfish. If you just want to be the HNIC and you refusing money, it's hard to believe that he be refusing money from Black men just because he wants to be the HNIC. Come on,
look,
man.
But the problem is, look, brothers who have been productive, have been successful, they know bullshit right out the gate. You know, you can style and profile and smooth and seduce women, you know, all the live long day. But like I said, I mentioned like LeBron James or Robert Smith, they gonna see that shit a mile away.
Yeah.
And they just ain't gonna do it. Even though they can easily do it. They just ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say
that's a shame, man. That's a shame.
Well, when it comes down to it, one of Black men's biggest issues is their ego because we are trained in gynocentric thinking, and women give shine to the man that appears to be the head nigga in charge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even when you build a YouTube channel, trust me, you know what I'm saying? Women come after you just because this is a form of social status. They see it as that. You see what I'm saying? And if a brother can't control himself, he gonna find himself caught up in a lot of mess behind that. Bro, and you have an entire society, from a general standpoint, directing men to be gynocentric. It's a hard thing to walk away from when the opportunities are there. You know, what Black man has had major problems that a woman wasn't attached to? Think about that. A productive Black man.
I disagree, Roger, on that point. If I could jump in.
What's going on? What's going on, Clark?
Peace to you, Kev. Thank you for bringing me up. This is my first time on your channel, first time on the panel. So appreciate you extending that to me.
No problem. Well, go ahead. You got the floor.
If I may just jump in real quick. Yeah, Roger, on that point, I think it's more fear-based. I think it's more fear-based than anything. We don't trust each other. And I think it's with Umar, it's a situation where it's more fear of somebody coming in and co-opting your shit versus, you know, I want to be the HNIC for all the gravitas that comes with it. I think there's an element of that, but I think it's more fear-based on that end of things.
You know what? I'm not going to even argue that point. But
can you? I mean, where's the fear? Who's the fear? I mean, can you elaborate?
The co-opting. We as Black men, we don't work together. Not enough of us work together, and I think with us, it's always that element of fear of, you know, if I may come up with an idea, right? I want to open a school, etc. Now you invite some other brothers in, you share that idea, your plans, and it's like, okay, is somebody else going to walk away with you know, the money? Is somebody else going to end up getting more of the shine and the fame, or getting put on the front of things instead of me because this was my original idea? I think it's more those elements of fear.
And I was gonna say I wouldn't disagree with that, but I do believe that's part of gynocentric thinking. We as black
Okay.
men have been socialized not to trust another black man, because if too many black men work together, we get stuff done.
Well,
Okay, I can accept
he
that, but
has given,
that
he has
fear
given,
is a gynocentric form of thinking. I can
yeah,
accept that.
yeah. Well, he is. I think he has given people the reason not to trust him. That's it. Because you out here hollering about, I'm doing this for the kids, and I see a video on you gambling at the gambling house, talking about you trying to hit the $1 million jackpot. Come on, man. Is that the leadership
But see,
you're going to show that you're gambling, and you're gambling trying to get the money for the school?
but that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
trust your butt either.
But see,
That's what.
that's why I say that the issue with the school, that well, that's what I was saying earlier. The issue with the school wasn't the man in charge. The women just didn't want the school, because had they gave the money for the school, this was like a 1 year type of thing. It's like you're only trying to collect so much money. He should have been able to collect that within the first year. All them little things that he had, he traveled around the country doing speeches. Man was on national platforms and things like that. The man was on the internet. It wasn't no secret the man trying to build a school. If people wanted school, they just gave him the money for the school. I went to a couple of events, and I think I dropped like $40 at each event or something like that. Or I might have dropped 20 and maybe gave him $40 total. But if you know what I'm saying, it's just a school. Like or
Yeah,
any
but
black person come.
Roger, I think you look. It's been my observation that when shit really get done amongst black folk, where it's black people money, that money's usually coming from black men.
Correct.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
I mean, I think this notion where black women were mostly going to fund a school for black boys was faulty in its inception. That was never going to happen. There is no precedent for that. There is no historical. Usually women, black women included, and especially black women, rely on money coming from men, whether that money is coming from the government or directly from men, charity, or men they're involved with, family, men they're having sex with. Usually when anything of any significance is done with black people, the money is coming from men somewhere. It's not coming from women, generally.
He's full of BS from the beginning. The way you
You know
talking,
what I would.
he from BS. He from BS from the beginning.
Well, but nobody was
You,
arguing against that part. That was the whole point of him saying something about going to women to really get money, that he was on BS. And my point was just the fact that women don't want the school, because if that school would have manifested the way he talked about it, that was going to produce a bunch of boys that were leaders. Why would black women get behind something that's going to produce a lot of boys that are going to be leaders? When have we ever seen black women from any level of collectiveness get behind anything that's going to produce a bunch of black men that are leaders?
You saying that's why he did it that way, because he knew women weren't going to support it? Why didn't he just is this the reason why he did it?
I'm not saying why he did it that way, because I don't know him to say that. My point was that when it was just another showing that women do not care about black boys getting ahead, because women do not want black men that are leaders. So anything attached to black men being better leaders, from a general standpoint, they're going to be against it. That's my point.
I don't think it has anything to do with women. The hell with them. You got 50,000 black men that's rich. Why should it have anything to do with women?
When Umar started,
I think you have to look at what Roger is saying in the context of the discussions that have gone on here between black men and black women, where black women will make arguments about, their fidelity towards black men, towards black boys, towards black communities. They make these grandiose arguments about, I believe in black men, I love black men, I love my sons, all this. And it's all, to some degree, Skinner, you have to look at what's going on from a propaganda standpoint, because propaganda fuels a lot of decisions that are made, not just amongst black people, but even like the decisions or what enable white people to do the shit they make. For example, this thing with Goldman Sachs. Now, black women have been for decades, asserted that they are the quote backbone of the black community, right? And so then Goldman Sachs put together a program where they're going to give $10 billion to what, 1 million black women or whatever. And in the justification for this program, in the marketing for the program, the chairman of the board of Goldman Sachs says out of his fucking mouth that black women are the backbone of the black community. That's propaganda.
Wow.
That's the power of propaganda. And they'll use that to justify reaping havoc on the communities of black people. They're going to unleash 1 million fucking witches, right? Throughout all the communities. All these bitches. They're going to unleash all those bitches all throughout, New York, Chicago, all these communities that have been hyped up on the bullshit by these fucking investment bankers. And they'll say out of their mouths, like I say, the chairman, I'm listening to this shit and I'm like, a white man says out of his fucking mouth
You
that,
can't
that,
make this
that
shit up,
black
man.
women are the backbone of the black community.
Wow. Wow. I didn't catch that, and I'm glad you said that, Black Guru. I was looking over and I read I don't know if it was from Goldman Sachs or one of the financial reporting papers when it was initially announced. And they didn't go into too much detail as to why. Pardon me. But wow. I didn't realize the chairman of the board said that.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot of this shit, first and foremost, comes out of academia and then trickles into these corporate spaces, when certain folks get in those spaces. And you're right, Roger, you're right as well. A black woman, and I've recently come to that realization, she'll advocate for other black women and of course their daughters, but they're not advocating for even their sons. Forget the men, advocate for your boys, advocate for your sons. And that's not happening. So, that's something else, man.
Well,
I had no clue that the chairman of the board said that shit.
That speaks to the depth of the betrayal. That
Sure.
you're sleeping with your enemy.
Sure.
In many cases,
Yeah.
like I say, does a species deserve to survive when the mother of that species hates her son? Does that species deserve to continue to survive?
The black community
we
goes
are
no
a species
further
where the
than the
mother
choices of a black woman
hates the son. What you just described, brother, was an example of the mother of a species hating its son, hating its own masculine lineage, betraying it. When those women went to Goldman Sachs, they got brothers, they got husbands, they got male cousins. They know what brothers are dealing with, and they had no fucking problem at all with doing what they did, not in the least bit. Didn't even think nothing about it.
You know who's on that advisory board, right? You had Condoleezza Rice. You had Valerie Jarrett.
Oh yeah, the usual suspects. The usual suspects. Yeah.
Let's see who else you had. Issa Rae.
Was Michelle Obama on? I think Michelle Obama was on.
Was
Yeah.
it
So
any
yes, the usual
stipulation?
suspects, and they really, and what that tells you is, what that tells you, Kevin, is that how deeply rooted the issue is, because these women have been around forever. Condoleezza Rice has been around forever. You know, Issa Rae, Michelle Obama, Valerie Jarrett, coming from Chicago. Those folks have been around for decades. They've been doing their fuck shit for decades. They've been creating and finessing and probably fucking these guys for decades. You know, so there's no quick fix to this, because this has been in the works since most of y'all were kids.
Why do
These
y'all think they
relationships.
did this
Valerie
though?
Jarrett is
Why do
well
y'all think
into.
they made this
Valerie
investment?
Jarrett is in her 60s. She's been doing she's been doing starting in Chicago, going back to like what, the 70s, 80s. That stuff has
Yep.
been in play for decades.
Well, Goldman Sachs come out with any stipulations about this money, and how is Goldman Sachs gonna make money from this?
Well, I mean, how they're going to make money is they're going to unleash a bunch of witches in destroying the black community, and basically creating all kinds of scenarios in which your black ass has got to be somehow inflating the investment portfolios of the investors of Goldman Sachs. That's how they do that. So the agenda will be they unleashing a million fucking witches on the black community, and everything. Those women are going to become teachers. They're going to become fucking bankers. They're going to become they're going to infiltrate all facets of higher level black life, right?
Mm,
And so any kind of they're going to become mayors. They're going to
right.
become police chiefs. You know what I'm saying? They go. I mean, at all the levels in all the black communities, and any kind of, if you live in a particular village and one of these bitches is the mayor of that village, and they got to make some decision as to how they're gonna finance the building of a school in the black community that costs $100 million. Guess who's gonna get that fucking uh investment deal, the bond issuance deal? Guess who's gonna get that? Who do you think is gonna get that? Goldman Sachs and/or
Okay.
its subsidiaries. That's what
Okay.
they're doing. They're
All right.
playing Balkan chess.
Mhm. All right. All right. Real quick. We got another person up here, Andre Carson. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? I just come up here to say, Roger, fuck Chicago. Fuck your show, Roger. The Rise Report ain't shit.
Oh God, I'm not doing this tonight.
What's wrong? What's
See,
wrong?
Roger got a fan.
Speaking
Hey,
of
man.
speaking of Chicago, what the hell is going on with Lori Lightfoot? I mean, we got a perfect case and example with her.
There you go.
They be hating
I
on
saw the
Roger,
thing
though.
where she said what? She's not taking any interviews from white reporters. And then
Yeah,
they just had
yeah,
the mayor of DC come out to her defense.
yeah. That was on the Black Authority tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I just
On the
saw
Black-
just saw that tonight.
You know, Bottom is not. She's losing her mail job.
Keisha Bottoms, yeah, she's quitting.
Yeah, is she quitting, or are they running her out from up there? Is she actually quitting? That's what she says.
She's just not running. She's just not running for re-election.
Yeah, they want to put somebody else in that slot now. I mean,
she'll be all right.
She's got
She'll be all right.
She part of the detail. You know, they want to put somebody else in that. They want to give somebody else that particular credential. So you know, she's gotten what she needs to get. She'll be fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the least though if she ends up with some type of position in the Biden administration.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, she was one of the first.
Well,
she was one of the first actually to come out and support him.
Yeah, she was trying to be vice president, though, wasn't she? She didn't
VP,
get picked.
yeah, she was the first. She was the first one to publicly support him, give her vote of confidence when he announced he was running.
Why didn't he?
I was shocked. I was shocked that he didn't pick
her. Apparently, you know, what's the name got some billionaire or whatever behind her. So, you know, it's all it's all bullshit.
Political.
It's not even really. The country's been sold. You know.
But for the Chicago
I'm just,
folks, I mean, I'm trying to understand, Black Guru. What's up with the voting trends in Chicago? You guys go from Rahm Emanuel to Lori Lightfoot.
you think
What's up
these
with that?
people aren't picked? You think these people aren't picked? You think? I mean, come on. I
I
mean,
mean, look,
President Obama,
I'm trying.
the,
Pres-
the only
President.
legitimate, the only
and
legitimate
and Lightfoot, the
leader
one
in
who husband.
Chicago that has ever existed was the late great Harold Washington. Everybody
Say it
else
again.
was the late great Harold Washington. God rest his soul. You know, and I don't know, there's questions about what actually happened there back in the 80s. But I mean, everybody else has been on the detail, been part of the Chicago machine in some way or another. You know,
Yeah.
it's look, Illinois, not just Chicago. Illinois is, you know, has been consistently one of the most corrupt states in the country. I mean, we've had three of the last 7 or whatever governors to do federal prison time. So
Yeah.
so I mean that is, you know, that's Illinois. That's Chicago and that's Illinois.
I think it was Lightfoot's husband that got caught with cocaine dealing or something, wasn't it? Wasn't that her
Well,
husband?
it ain't Lightfoot husband, because Lightfoot
I don't think she got.
it definitely ain't Lightfoot husband, because Lightfoot got a white wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have been somebody else. Must have been somebody else then.
It
Yeah.
must be somebody that definitely ain't Lightfoot. She got her
Okay.
white. She got her, and that's the hilarious part about that. She's not only alphabet, but she our alphabet. Which, if you observe, there's a fairly high rate of black women, uh, alphabet black women who have white mates. Very high rate
Yeah.
of that. Very high rate of that,
Oh man.
particularly amongst the celebrity class. And I always think that's very, very telling.
Yeah. It seems like they the first ones that win these political spots, and they seem like they always the ones that win these leadership roles.
What?
Well, but
Well,
like I
let
said,
me let me
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
well let me ask y'all this. Even when it comes to the Black Manosphere, the women that show up, do you see more women showing up that are pro Black Manosphere or anti Black Manosphere?
I see attention whores showing up. I shouldn't say it like that. I see
Yes, you
some
should.
sympathizers. I see some real sympathizers, you know, because this is becoming, quote unquote, a safe space for black women who do agree with some of these narratives, but clearly they can't say that amongst their female friends. So I see some of that. Maybe the majority might be attention whores. Maybe the minority might be attention whores. I don't know.
Well, my thing is, okay, the Black Manosphere, and the Black Manosphere doesn't even agree with itself. That's the only thing you can really say about the Black Manosphere. Every man does not have the same idea of what we need to do, but we as men, we get together, we talk, we exchange ideas. There is some form of leadership for you in this space, regardless of what type of man you are.
True.
So, if black women like black men, how come droves of them aren't here to support us? Because it's a space to help black men, period. And they'll be helped by extension. You got leadership over here. So why aren't they here by the droves to support it?
Well, we don't know how many are listening in the clouds either.
I mean, they
Roger,
could
if
be
you
listening
average
to
300 viewers
I
a
mean, I'm
stream,
assuming you want to answer to the question. You know, because I don't know if that is a rhetorical question or is that, I mean, because I don't. I think there are very few black women who expect black men to be able to effectively lead, and maybe even a smaller percentage of them who want black men to lead. I think there's a very, very small percentage of black women. I would say less than 15% of black women, of ADOS women, I should be a little more specific. I think there's less than 15% of ADOS women who sincerely want black men to lead. Now, I think there's a whole lot of black women who claim that they want black men to lead. But I think there's a very, very small percentage of black men who, black women who want men to lead. And I think it's a combination of not even believing that black men can effectively lead, and then also this irrational fear that if black men do lead, somehow we're gonna somehow become even worse than white men. Uh, and maybe more so than everything else, they don't want you to lead because they want to lead. You know, I mean, if you lead, I can't lead, and God forbid I don't lead. You know, so I mean, I don't, you know, I don't give much. I don't. I, my view of women in general is that you either control them or they fuck you. In general,
Yeah.
you know,
They're like
What
kids, man.
yeah.
what
They're
what
just
you
like
know what?
kids.
I think 15% is actually high for
Well,
the question that
I
was asked.
said less than 15. You know, yeah, but yeah.
No. I know, but I just
Mm-hmm.
want to say that I think 15% is probably high. It might be really about 5% that I personally believe that really wants to lead. Because even because y'all hear me say on a regular basis, if you watch my channel, you hear me say on a regular basis, I only think about 15 to 20% of black women are actually good people.
Yeah.
And out of those good people, I believe that there's women that get with black men, but even a lot of those women, they don't want to be led by men. They want to be a partner to their man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to say I'm going to be led by a man, I think that might be 5 to 7%.
Yeah. No, I would probably agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sure don't want you to lead if you make less money than them. You have to make more money than them in order for you to lead.
They, bruh,
They don't want you to lead then either.
if you were a fucking billionaire, they still want to lead your black ass.
Shit.
Money,
That's
Bro,
crazy.
they
That's
will.
crazy.
See, this is what you got to understand about black women, and you know, I heard a white guy say this, um, you know, in one of these big toe guys that I listen to, and he, I forget who it was, but he said that women use words like magic tricks. I mean, we use words because we're actually trying to convey a legitimate point or sentiment. If you listen to the women on um, Hammer's stream today, you'll clearly see that the words that those women were using didn't. Them women were going to say any fucking thing, you know, that gave them any sort of advantage. It didn't matter what was right or fair or true or fact or could be empirically. eh, That didn't matter. That didn't matter. The only thing I'm going to use a word in this particular moment because I think it's going to give me some advantage right now. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to women, when you're listening to them, in most cases, you know, that's why I'm always like, I don't really want to listen to your ass too much because I know you're just saying whatever is convenient for you in this moment. Generally, I'm not saying all women, all circumstances. Sometimes women are very smart and can be very competent in certain positions. But when they're dealing with you on a personal level, man to woman, they are not going to fight fair. They're not going to play fair. They're going to use anything and everything necessary to win the argument. And then even after you stop, they're going to make a point of, even after you've given up, right? You know, even after you've relented or have gone silent, they're gonna belabor the point. You know, a lot of reasons why domestic incidents happen is because men have backed off and the women belabor the point. Because not only do they want to get the last word, but at a certain point they're going for humiliation. A lot of incidents, a lot of domestic incidents occur because the women won't shut the fuck up, and they're going for humiliation. It's not even just about the argument anymore. It's about I'm going to humiliate and degrade this man. And then usually it's at that point where the guy said, "Fuck that, whatever.
Yeah. That's
I
why.
guess I'll do
That's
some
why
time."
when you dating one, or you're in a relationship with one, or you married to a woman, you should at least say no to her at least once a month, just for the hell of it.
Mhm. I mean, I
Just say,
remember having an
just say
argument
no.
with my wife.
Just
I
say
remember,
no.
I remember having an argument with my, and she was just going on and on, and I'm like, "Okay, babe, okay, yeah, whatever, babe, what? God damn, okay, yeah." And so finally, uh, I'm like, we're in my bedroom. I'm gonna walk out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk. Shit, fuck, maybe I'll sleep on the couch tonight or just some bullshit. Well, where you going? And she gestured towards me. She gestured towards me to stop me from leaving. And in that moment, and I kind of, I don't even quite even remember this happening. But at some point, my fist was through the wall. There was a hole. There was a hole in the wall. It was only when she saw that hole in the wall where she was like, "Oh shit, this motherfucker punched a hole in the wall."
Could be my face, huh?
Right, right. Now I've never hit my wife. She's hit
Yeah.
me a couple of times. I've never hit my wife. But that hole in the wall, and I
Shit.
made a point of leaving that hole in the wall. I left that hole in the wall for about a month before I patched it up. And she would say, uh, "You ain't gonna are you gonna come up there?
What'd
She
she say?
remembered that. She remember. He's
You
gonna
ain't
cover
gonna
it
ever
up.
come up there.
You ain't gonna cover
You
that
gonna ever
hole up.
come up that damn hole?"
That's why you gotta tell them no, man. Tell them no on a consistent basis. Let them
and
get a.
and even when I covered up the hole, eventually I covered up the hole, but I intentionally avoided painting the 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 plaster and the repair. So even though the hole had been covered, but you can still see where. And so for a little while after that, for a month or so, even after I repaired it, she was like, "You just ain't gonna ever." And so the area, because she was so pissed of being reminded daily about that I had punched the hole in the wall. But I mean, the point I'm making is that, man, you with a chick long enough, married, whatever. At some point, man, it can go there if you with them long enough.
Hey, I've been there. I've been there. I know what you're saying. I had to take several walks around the block in 32 years. A lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. And you can be walking hard, and the neighbor's looking at
Yeah, where he go?
you.
Where he going?
And the neighbor's like, "Damn, what he walking? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning."
But you know what the part is about that. If you do anything greater or worse than a peaceful resolution, like taking a walk, then you're seen as the one that's the villain.
Mm. But here's the thing, Kevin. What happens when you try to take that walk and they try to stop you from taking that walk?
Oh man,
And,
I'm
and
not.
my point is, a lot of domestic incidents happen when
Yeah,
women try to stop brothers from taking that walk.
I guess you get your point across and put a hole in the wall.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
I mean, one thing that like this has been stated many times. One thing that I've said why these women are so flippant is because black men have been so easy on black women. You know, is there, since there's no consequence,
Yeah.
they have a capacity to try you a little bit more. And if you snap and you just go off, then they can start gaslighting you. You're toxic. You might kill me or some shit like
Hmm.
that. But anyway, fellas, I have to inform you that it is about that time. I'm bringing this one to a close tonight.
Yeah.
For all
Yeah.
of you that are watching, I'm on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday late nights. In the near future, I'm going to work on getting an earlier time slot. But for now, this is where it is. I'm going to ask gentlemen to start the final statements. Anyone, you can start.
I'll go.
Um,
I'll
okay.
go if you don't mind. Like I said, I was kind of ranting a little bit, and so forgive me, Kevin, if I was disruptive, you know, to your channel. But I I wish to jealously preserve the integrity of this environment. And it did bother me, the level of disrespect afforded Roger, afforded Officer Charles, and other gentlemen on Hammer's channel. And I'm not condemning Hammer. And I think, like Roger said, he's young, and a lot of things with respect to protocols and stuff like that. We've kind of, unfortunately, we've relaxed too much of that kind of thing. Um, I guess I would just like to leave all the gentlemen here with the thought, or to ponder the notion of what does it mean to be a man, and then also what should be required to compel women to respect men. There should be some notion in a woman, even when you disagree with her and she disagrees with you. There should be some pause given to her disrespect in the disagreement. And the only way you're going to create that is by jealously and very aggressively and sometimes very belligerently asserting that you are a man, and I will not be treated this way by a female. You have to adopt that. You as a woman, I'm not. See, but here's the thing: amongst men, amongst us as men, I know if I disrespect you, gentlemen, particularly if we're in the physical presence of each other, if I disrespect you, there is the potential of violence uh, being wreaked upon me by any of you gentlemen. I know that. I know that as a man, and so that's going to temper how I deal with you. It's going to create some baseline level of respect and regard. I would strongly urge you men to compel such from these women. And if that means by way of, just say, I would strongly
We
urge you to compel that of the women, both in this virtual space as well as in your personal life. We cannot get back control of things unless there is some degree of fear and respect amongst the women. And I'll end it with that.
All right, and let me also respond real quickly. No, you weren't disrupting with your passionate rant, Black Guru. In fact, this is the place for black men to express themselves as such. I try to promote that here on this. So thanks for stopping by. Stopping by, definitely, Black Guru, and much appreciated. So whoever wants to go next.
I'll go next. Thanks, Kevin, for letting me come back up. I really enjoyed this show, and one of the main reasons I came to this show was you and the title of your show, Black Men Being Brutally Honest. It just really fits me. And kind of following up on Uru. you guys that's yeah, I'm just gonna throw just a little something to make help out that's not married. When you do get married, get used to telling your wife no. Get her used to it, and then it'll kind of help a little bit as it, time goes on because she'll get used to you saying no, and then when you do say it, it won't be so harsh. It won't be such a shock to her that you're telling her no because you've been doing it every month. If that make any sense. But as far as the manosphere and black men, the problem, I really think the manosphere is just it's just a slow process. I think the biggest problem is outside the manosphere. I really do. I mean, look how these women call in a KS show and disrespect them. Look at the average and best deal. Just not wrong. It was him. It wasn't the message. It was him. But thanks again, Kevin. Uh, uh, love this show.
All right. Thank you, Wise Kenner, once again for coming up. All right. And your input is always appreciated, and it humbles me to no end knowing that there are people that actually check this channel out because they enjoy the content. So it's always a good thing to hear some positive reinforcement for the way things are done now, not only on this channel, but for the habitual line steppers as well. So next up, Clark.
Yes, sir. I'll go right ahead, man. Thank you for having me. Kev, this is my
All
first
right.
time. You've got a new subscriber. Enjoy the conversation. Think you got a good thing going. Hope it keeps going. I'll close out by hitting your initial question. Is your problem with the black manosphere or just the black man? And I think it's really the black manosphere for most of these women, because this space is where the truth tellers are. This is the space where folks are shaking the status quo. I would just also say, man, as far as the brothers listening, move ahead, man, move on. I'm of the opinion personally, I don't think the black community is gonna be saved, is to be saved, is in its current rendition at least. And that's just probably me and my fatalism at this point. But I'm more focused on finding a woman that's going to be on my program as I focus on my mission. And so I would encourage brothers to do the same. Don't compromise on your self-respect. Don't compromise on your mission, and move ahead. To each his own. I think we have different opinions on that topic about the black community and should we be invested in it to try to rescue and save it. But it is what it is. I think we can agree that we need to be self-respecting brothers. So I appreciate the elders that were on this panel, Roger, Black Guru, yourself, Kev, and look forward to coming back around, man.
All right, definitely, Clark, and you've been nothing but respectful, and you displayed your intelligence quite well. So yes, you're welcome to come back, and whenever you have the time, and whenever you see me on the air. So
I appreciate you, brother.
All right. Well, yeah.
All right.
Thanks for stopping by and sharing your thoughts. Okay. All right. Roger, my habitual line stepper brother, what you got?
Definitely appreciate being here. Shout outs to all the panelists. I saw Donnie on. I saw Perfect Timing on. I saw Black Guru, this new gentleman, Clark. A lot of great stuff. I'm just going to say, if you have a problem with the black manosphere, then you're just not on the side of black people. I'm going to pretty much leave it there.
All right. Short and sweet. And yet he said so much by, in that short and sweet statement that he just made. But yeah, one thing that I would say, in closing is that every time black men get together, they give us the impossible task of saving the black community. So some of us, we don't take up the task and basically say, screw y'all and this community. But others of us, we approach it with a little bit more optimism and thinking that this is something that is worth saving, and being black is very beautiful and very fulfilling. I never once had the thought that maybe if I was born as another race, that I would have a better life. Which, I mean, albeit that might be true in some instances, I wouldn't want to look like anyone else. I would always want to look exactly like this, give or take a few push-ups, and eating right. It's just what it is. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, Clark. Really appreciate the support, brother. Dark Knight mentality. I see you down there. But we have reached the end of this one, and I'll just say this. If you're going to charge black men with the responsibility of saving the community, it's not going to be saving the community the way you want. It's going to be saving the community. And that means if you are being a hindrance, um, you can be called out and you will be held accountable. And I mean, and me, I have a very hardcore policy. If you don't like it, you can walk in traffic. It is I don't feel like that we need to waste any more time with bullshit, and we need to get this ball rolling. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with the whole. I think the problem, really, honestly, the root cause of it is black men. I mean, in with Black Uru and what he was saying about he approaches having women in the space with a lot of caution. Um, yeah, I mean, I try to at least give them a chance to speak up, because if we're going to be saying stuff about them, they need to at least have a chance. But they also need to understand that if you are over a certain age, which I hope whoever participates in this space is of age, you have to conduct yourself like an adult. And we as men, we cannot be afraid to put these women in check whenever they come in our spaces being all disruptive and shit. And it's like some for some of it, I feel like, yeah, sometimes the conversations are good and they are worth having. But for people like that, is some people we just can't reach, and that's an inevitability that we all face when we're trying to fix things and trying to lead people into a better way of life, because isn't that the goal after all, for black people in our culture to have a good way of life? And y'all gotta want it, but throwing mud at black men for at least making those suggestions, and that's not going to solve the problem. It is not. And what I don't see is anytime in the future is the absolute silence of black men. It's not going to. It's probably not going to happen. Now, in closing, I will repeat something that Sister George said on her show, The Breakdown, the other day. Her and Concrete Rose co-ops that show and host together. One thing she did say, that black women do need to start worrying if black men do stop talking and or do stop being concerned with what black women are doing. Um, and by the way, they're good people, but they posed a pretty good question themselves the other day. Are black men in the business of black women too much? And my stance on that is no. I feel like as black men, since the responsibility falls on us, that we need to have our hands in every aspect of this community in order for us to work. Because no, I don't agree with the chairman CEO of Goldman Sachs saying that black women are the backbone of this community. I don't agree with it. Whether there are black women out there that feel like that or not, the hell exactly have you done to solidify anything in this community for you to be the backbone? So, I mean, I do believe that the root cause is black men, but because it is the Black Manosphere, it's going to present an even bigger problem because now you got a bunch of black men that are telling the truth, and you got to hear it whether you like it or not. You can go in your little hate spaces and try to justify your way out of it, but at the end of the day, we're all going to have to face this one thing that we ever so try to avoid. And that thing is reality. And you could either lie to yourself about it, or you can be brutally honest. I choose brutally honest. So whether that causes problems for me as a black man or a representative of Black Manosphere, hey, do your worst. I'm quite used to it. So anyway, this is Kev. This is Black Men Being Brutally Honest. Thank you for all your support of the channel. Thanks for watching, for all your likes, your super chats, and for everyone who came by and offered their perspective and their thoughts. And wow, oh, we got a super chat from Roger, and I'll be closing this out by saying this: long live the habitual line steppers. In Kev we trust. See you tomorrow for Any Given Sunday.